は僕をダメなやつと思う。鏡を見つめる僕を見避けているけど中には大きな力希望がある。 Maybe I'm a little young but you don't know what I become. Can't you see it in my face? A demon living in disguise but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let 'em burn it out. Sell 'em to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Hello, chat. Are you pogging? I think we're pogging today. You honestly all should be pogging today. You should be. Lots of poggies going around. Lots of poggies. Oh, baby, is today an interesting one. Beyond that, you be molding. Be molding. Okay? You're pog max. Pog max. You know what's annoying? You know what's frustrating, chat, as a as a Latino male, as a Latino American. Pog and pog are too close together. Okay? My pronunciation as a New York Latino makes them sound similar. Alright? But they couldn't be more different. You know? They couldn't be more different. Unfortunately, today we're not looking at a pog, if you know what I mean. You know, we're not looking at a pog. Diesel IRL. We're like pog IRL. Now, yeah. Some Illuminati stuff dropped. And she has returned from the ether. She has returned from the ether, chat. The beast moveth. You know, there's a lot here to discuss. I also want to say that I thought it would be really funny if I became the third party that this discussion was had with. But in a realistic sense, I've done too much annoying shit to Illuminati for her to want that. Especially since I have the jar. which has become a fixture of my room. So yeah, here's the jar. This jar holds no relation to anybody's living or dead. The plushie inside is not merchandise of a YouTuber and is purchased with my own money. Actually, this is purchased with my own money, so I can do whatever I want with a product that I bought with my own money on an eBay auction. Okay, so I can put this in a jar. If I wanted to, I could come in it, but this is 3 pints. And if I tried to cum 3 pints, it would kill me. I think I would die. So I'm not going to fill it with cum, but hypothetically I could fill it with cum. I just need a pog, you know, and then that would make it easier. You know, they always say better co-op than solo play. Yeah, count your blessings. I'm gonna make it a Diesel IRL bingo card, and 1 square is gonna be cum. That should just be the free space, right? Like, I found her unused DeviantArt account. We're gonna go over the Ask If I'm and the Tumblr, but this Illuminati has casted candle explosion spell too many times. Twice is way too much, Mishi. Okay? It's way too much. She casted that... not saying she did, but personally, I feel like somebody casted a spell on me for placing this plushie that I purchased with my own money, that is my product and property, in a jar. Yeah, there's a lot of porn. There's a lot of porn. Maybe the cookbook has some tricks for increased production. I believe it does, actually. I'm not in the business of cum maxing right now. But when I do, I will try.
Evil Evelyn celebrates 12 months of membership. Jarred Pyramid is not sold by Mana Potion Coffee.
I will say, if you happen to buy 4 bags of coffee, so that's 1 of each of our coffees, you'll get a standee of your choosing. So if you use code Diesel at checkout, you get 20% off that total order, which is, I mean, it's a lot of coffee, but I go through that much coffee in a month. But you could get a standee of me, Diesel, and then put me in a jar. But yeah, or you could just buy the standee separately if you wanted. You could buy me and put me in a jar. That is the thing. I have a love-hate relationship with the fact of fart noise still makes me laugh every stream. Honestly, I just can't even get rid of it now. It's been so long. I feel at some point, like, you know, if this whole thing works out being a streamer, that, like, maybe I probably should get rid of it, because it would be a little distracting. You know, because if somebody donates, like, at least 5 subs, it's like a whole minute of time is just killed by the sound of the fart reverberating on and on and on, right? So at some point, maybe, you know. Anyway, in recent time, Oz has presented a video. As of 3 hours ago, this hour-long video was produced, which covers the goings-on of Illuminati regarding the case, the civil case that they're in. There's a lot of information in this. It's pretty fucking dense. And there is some revelatory stuff in here. All right. Now we're all gonna thank you, Draft. That was very nice of you. 5 gifted. Super based. Super based. Now we're all gonna sit here while it does that very slowly, because it'll get in the way of my thoughts. See, the problem is that one fart goes off, that's like fine. But then you start talking again, and then another one is immediately going to come in when you're talking. And just as you think it's over, it comes back, you know? And it makes it difficult. Someone eating the beans. I did have Mexican tonight. I overate a little. This cut is going very bad. I think I'm going to have to go for a run tomorrow. I'm struggling. It is not fun. We are going to be here a while. Thank you,
Commodore Chomp
Commodore.
celebrates 3 months of membership. Reverb fart noise.
She has a $5. Interesting what Blair could be doing with the $5. But, yeah, without further ado, I'm sure many of you haven't seen this yet. Some of you have. I saw you guys talking about it in the server. So for those of you that haven't seen it, we're going to look at it together. And,
well, here we are.
By the way, also, Oz Super Base. Lots of great Warhammer material here. Pariah by Dan Abnett. Great book, by the way. It's one of my favorites from Dan Abnett.
Round 2. Blair, if you or your lawyers are watching this, I implore you to at least watch the—
Holy shit, Axis, we're gonna be here forever. First of all, Axis, thank you so much. 50 gifted is insane, dude. Holy shit. But I might have to turn off the sound. At least in a little bit. Regardless of how funny that is. But thank you. Outrageous. Did you want to talk this stream? We're gonna be here forever. I'm gonna Jesus. Okay. I'm gonna try and focus while it plays. And this might ruin my input on this video.
the outro, preferably before June 7th. This is not the monstrosity of a documentary against Blair's actions. If anything, think of this as the prologue. We're here right now because Blair, owner of Pyramid Entertainment—
I feel like this kind of like ruins the seriousness of the discussion. like I can't, like there's a discussion of lawsuits going on right now and lawyers finding out about things. And this is going to play 50 times. One fart for every gift, which is the problem. Axis blessed us, yes.
Entertainment LLC, or better known as her public YouTube personality Illuminati, is currently in the process—
Yeah, so something that... So Nani and I spent a lot of time... We're going to be here for all fucking night. Thank you, Draft, for 5 more gifted. That was very nice of you. Thank you. God, this is like trying to pay attention to... I don't even know what this is. Thank you so much. Fuck. Chat. This is like ADHD overload, bro. Holy shit. I was going to say something. I can't fucking remember what I was gonna say. Imagine if you can make them go off all within 1 second together. Quick, get the dancing fruits ready. Just mute it. I'm going to mute it. Axis, again, thank you for the 50 gifted. That is insane. Draft, you've done 10 gifted. That's very nice of you. Thank you. I'm muting it. I've muted it. No! Everyone use your fucking emotes that you just got now. Alright, no muting. No! Listen, we're an egalitarian chat. Here's what we do about it, okay? You here. Vote on it. I will leave it up to democracy. Democracy gets to decide what happens next. All right. Of course you were gonna say yes. Why did I say yes? Why did I even put that up to a vote? Am I stupid? What was my thinking behind that? Like, am I just like an idiot? Oh, it's close to 50-50. Please no. I will also vote no. No, I fucked up my chat. Hold on. I need to fix that now. Shit. Docs. Chat. There we go. Well, now you can point at chat and blame us for whatever happens next. Nope. No. I know that says 51% yes, 48% no, but it said 50-50 when I closed the poll. It said 50-50 when I closed the poll, chat. It said 50-50 when I closed the poll. It said 50-50 when I closed the poll. It does not say yes. Some of us are autistic and can't handle the fart sound. Where is the democracy? Yeah, well, I'm the president, which means I get to veto the vote. Some of us are artistic and can't handle not hearing the farts. Here. Okay. I've got a solution to this. That'll make everyone happy. Fart with reverb 10 hours. All right? So, 1 hour of silence, occasionally broken up by fart with extra reverb. Okay? That's what we'll do. Diesel, no. Compromise only in death. Okay. They'd asked if I'd lose. They said, nah, I'd fart. Thank you, Giraffe, for the €5. Okay, so that'll be on in the background. We'll just get through this. I am Illuminati's silliest hater. I don't know what to say. Anyway, I do want to give this time of day. I heard this was gonna happen, so I wanted to watch it. That's gonna happen every little bit now.
Process of suing me, as well as other prior employees for defamation and other claims. This video, as well as its subsequent parts, will serve as a public record of exactly what is going on behind the scenes. Throughout these videos, I will actively be showing all and any evidence related to dismantling her claims against me, as well as the other parties she's involved in this misplaced legal crusade of hers. Seeing as I know this video will be heavily scrutinized by Blair's legal team, hi, and perhaps even shown in front of a court, also hi, I am fully willing to submit this video and its subsequent parts to the courts as further evidence, as I am willing to stand by these words, as I'm treating this as though I'm speaking under oath. I am also not stating this to add an air of authority to my words, as Blair's—
Oh my god. Okay, I gotta actually stop this. 1 hour of silence broken up by farts is stupid. The smell is gone. So Oz, as you guys know now, is the former partner of Blair, as well as currently being sued by Blair, right?
legal team has previously proposed. I want the truth known. And to do so, I'm going to publicly dissect her claims within this lawsuit to essentially lay bare my defense, as well as the defense for other parties involved. My section of the lawsuit will be covered in part 2, as I'm awaiting litigation privileges before I explore my portion of the lawsuit publicly. Despite this, there is still plenty of information on the ongoings in this video. My lawyer is aware I'm doing this. These legal proceedings have been ongoing for the past 8 to 9 months at this point in time. If it wasn't for the assistance I received with the GoFundMe back in September, I would not have been able to mount a legal defense. Of the amount donated, GoFundMe takes a fee with each donation. This can be seen on screen here with this nice little chart breakdown they provide. At this point in time, which more information can be found as an update in the original GoFundMe, this lawsuit has...
This video is suffering from a severe lack of farts. This video is very dense with information, so there's a lot here. I do think Oz killed it with this video. We had spoken before the video had went live, and he let me know that this was going to be happening. And frankly, I was like, I don't think this is, I think this is a good time to say something, right? I gave him my opinions of the video. I looked at it and I was like, okay, this is good. Like, you've cooked. And if it was bad or like absolutely horrendous, I would have told him not to. But yeah, damn, bro needs to educate Keffels about GoFundMe. Yeah, he is very, very transparent, which is amazing and super great. And like I said earlier, he likes D&D and Warhammer, and that's super based.
cost over $40,000. I've been posting all of my legal invoices for full transparency, and more will be posted soon. The redacted information within them is information subject to attorney-client privilege, which also spells out...
So yeah, that's the redacted invoice that you can see there.
My current legal strategy. This would be foolish to allow Blair's legal team access. This is why the redactions are as heavy as they are, as they include itemized lists of my lawyer's actions throughout the case's initial proceedings.
I can vouch for the legitimacy of the invoice, and more of the legal documentation is like available through the courts, of course. But yeah, given that invoice right there, and again, I have spoken with Oz to make sure that this stuff is actually, like, he's telling the truth, right? That is true, right? The invoice that is the invoice.
Despite how much has been spent so far, the legal proceedings are still in the beginning phases. Blair's lawsuit, in my opinion, relies on the misconstruing of facts and utilizes a personally curated timeline, which she has constructed in order to gain the bare minimum standards of having this case proceed. Because I'm exhausted with the, in my opinion, legal shenanigans Blair is currently pulling, this video exists. We will be delving into that timeline and gutting it point by point, as both her lawyers and judge seem to be fully unaware that I am not the real cause of her pain and misery. Blair is. Blair's actions are the reason we are here, and I'll be demonstrating that shortly with a detailed timeline of events before we move into the dissection of her claims. If you would like a full breakdown of every court filing to date, I would recommend YouTuber Matt Catster. For now, I'll be focusing on what's current and minimizing the 100+ pages of legal proceedings down to only what's necessary over the next 2 parts. For the next proceedings, I'll be launching a new GoFundMe because I have nearly exhausted the prior amounts donated. All donations will be used to defend all parties in opposition to Blair, not just myself. All future legal invoices will be posted as they come, from all parties who are in need of the funding. My goal with these uploads, assuming Blair does not take my offer, is to not only lay my defense bare for all legal parties to see, but for the online community as a whole. I intend to provide ample documentation to justify to all of you why another round of crowdfunding is being posted. This isn't just for myself anymore. This is also to defend employees that Blair is bringing legal action against as well. If Blair does accept my offer within...
That's he's coming out of the gate really, really strong. His attitude is great. The tone is good here with this video, right? It's serious and stern, but it's not like chauvinistic, right? There are ways to make good videos like this, and this is an example of that. But that they raised $50,000, and all of that's almost exhausted, right? Just think about the funds that not only Oz is burning, but that Blair is burning. Okay, think about how much money and credibility and reputation Blair has burned in her vindictive, proceedings of trying to get away with this, right? or not even trying to get away with this, but trying to silence those who are critical of her, myself included. What's interesting about this, and will be explored further in the video, right, is how Blair kind of directs saying a lot of, and when I say Blair, I mean Blair and her legal, right? But that Blair directs a lot of this, like, you know, the internet discourse around her, the way that it looks to be presented as stated by Oz, it looks like Blair is blaming Oz for her, you know, trials and tribulations, right? So let me lay out what the timeline of Blair's drama is, right? Hold on. I'm gonna make a graph. I'm gonna make a graph, chat. All right, we're gonna do it on a notebook. Oh, this is cute. Here. Right? All right. So what happened is that there was no drama going on, and then let's get a bigger pencil as well. Get like a what's a crayon? Maybe not a crayon, maybe a pen, big pen, paintbrush. No, I'll do crayon. I'm feeling like a crayon today, right? So nothing is going on, right? And then legal. I'm drawing this with the mouse, guys. Okay, legal. Eagle. Right? So the legal eagle drama happens. And so then Blair accuses him on tweets, right? So she makes a bunch of tweets kind of saying, A, you're stealing my shit. The E is drunk. Yes, it is. Right? She said, you stole my style, legal eagle. Right? And then, oh my God, I'm drawing accidental lines. And then what happens is that Blair makes a huge Twitter thread, and then everyone criticizes her for how stupid it is. So she gets criticism from Twitter from these tweets, right? So Twitter criticizes her, right? And who else criticized her during this time? H-bomb. And in that moment where Blair said, "Hey, you stole my shtick," H-bomb was like, "Actually, you've committed plagiarism," because at the time, H-bomb was cooking up the plagiarism, right? So then it expands further. By this time, commentary and drama had started picking up on it. News sources had started picking up on it, right? Oh my God. This is like the worst thing to do. Right? So after all the Twitter and H-bomb stuff, so we got Twit, H-bomb, and by the H-bomb tweet, drama community picked up on it, right? So now you got the drama community, and this is all happening roughly in the same time. Then, after that, drama community had a bunch of details on Blair. Will these notes be posted? No, you better be taking notes. It's going to be on the test, right? Then, drama community starts posting a bunch of old lore about Blair. So old lore comes back to haunt Blair. Right? roughly the same time as all this old lore starts to happen, a little bit after, right, comes the sad milk tweets from former members. Now, what's funny is that right around here, there's some overlap between drama and sad milk. Some of the leakers of Illuminati were friends of friends that held on to bad pictures of Blair, right? So that's how we got stuff like her disgusting room, right? That was posted by Mango, who is kind of a commentary orbiter and often seems to be surrounded by stuff like this. Mango, from what I know, is friends with some of the sad milk people. So that stuff happens. So once sad milk regales their tales working for Blair, Blair produces her video. Her stinker, guys. This is what we're talking about. Then Blair posts her stinker. When she posts her stinker, it's immediately picked up on as being like very ridiculous by a lot of people. Drama community starts to critique it, but then where it gets really bad is people like Click, Oz, Wonder, One Topic, all come out with videos of varying degrees of severity that regale how not only is Blair wrong, but that Blair, in their opinion, tried to defame them, right? Or use their charitability and kindness against them, right? So then the sad milk videos come out, right? Sad milk vids, right? Now, what's important to know is that this first time sad milk is brought up is the first time that Oz said anything, of which Oz did not say much. Okay? Oz could not have started the drama because timeline-wise, Oz happened much later in the timeline. Oz didn't speak about it until much later, right? How could he have been the person leading the charge if he was not the first out the gate? Does that make any sense? The timeline wouldn't make any sense for him to be the one that's like coordinating this because he'd be too far behind, right? He would have been saying something right after the Legal Eagle tweet went out, and he did not. Right? After the sad milk videos came out, Blair took it to legal, which is where we are now. Right? I was really struggling to follow everything, but the mouse-drawn timeline really ties it all together. Hold on. We're going to do one more. Okay? So we got the sad milk videos. I write badly, so in case you guys haven't noticed. So we got sad milk vids. And these vids refute and make... Didn't Illuminati mention Oz first by apologizing to him in that trash response? Yes. Yes. In Illuminati's response to all the Twitter threads, she did apologize to Oz. Right? She did apologize to Oz after that point. Apologize, air quotes. Next time, the timeline should be done with puppets. So, once the sad milk vids came out, this is where Oz made a video. Where, I should say, in my opinion, The Click made the most damning video. Optically, that was the most damning video. Oz, okay, so it was Click, Wonder, Oz, OT. right? That's the order of damage I would argue the videos did, right? In terms of like that. But Blair was already ruined by the time they were speaking. And they also all spoke in defense of themselves. They did not attack her or publish anything about her, right? They defended themselves from things Blair said about them, right? Can you please draw a little Among Us in the corner? Yeah, sure. Among Us. Bum 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 bum. Right? Yes. And then after all this, she was included as a character in H-Bomb's video on plagiarism, right? But we're not there yet in the timeline, right? By this time, her audience, by the time they said anything in video, her audience was already done with their shit. Okay? They were already done with it. But more so than that, again, Sad Milk did not enter the discussion until much later, right? This proposition by Blair's defense that it was Sad Milk and ergo Oz who mounted an attack against Blair is wrong, because people had started criticizing Blair for her plagiarism way before they had entered the discussion. Way before. So much so, the plagiarism was such an issue, the stuff with Legal Eagle was such an issue, that she ended up receiving negative attention from people in the politics space on the leftist mafia. All right? The Sad Milk people entered in the middle of this story and then only published anything in video after they had been attacked. They left out a lot of stuff and continue to still leave out tons of stuff, by the way. Exactly. Oz has delayed saying anything much for quite a while. That is a very good point. That is a very good point. So these Sad Milk videos come out. And it basically is a nail in the coffin for Blair. Right? The mask has slipped. A lot of Blair's presentation as a leftist go out the window at this time, which Blair did herself. Okay? The proposition that it is defamation, I would find very outrageous, because many of these things Blair did herself. Basically everything, right? Click's video came out and destroyed her. Yes. And then, I mean, listen, you watch Wonder's video, you can't help but feel bad for the guy. Right? You can't help but feel bad for Wonder. Someone who's young and struggling, regaling this video. It's bad. It's a bad look for her. And Blair deliberately built an audience that likes business etiquette, that cares about ethical business. And a lot of what was shown was that Blair is not what she preaches. And her audience made the decision to leave her on her own. Okay? It was not Oz. It was not any of them. Now, after these videos come out, a lot of Blair's less than kind lore leaks, right? So we learn a few things. We learn Blair's stripper background. We learn that Blair, and we're going to go over some of her stripper stuff in a little bit. But after that, we learn a lot of it was bullshit, right? Blair used to operate as a lady known as Sarah Jessica Warren, right? Blair used to run around in the drama sphere where she was anti-SJW. Okay? I have multiple sources that would confirm to me that she was a watcher of people from internet blood sports. In particular, Tonkasaw, which is probably old lore that most of you don't even know who Tonkasaw is. That's how old it is, right? Yes, and in the drama community, saying retard was very common. It still is. Is the stripper stuff relevant? It's part of her old lore because a lot of the representation that Blair puts out is this very PC leftist, right? And she did not operate as that person, right? She was like, the word retard was never in my vocabulary, right? Things like that. And this use of the word retard, by the way, is part of what she accused Click of being anti-PC. So there is. Being a stripper isn't even... Yeah, being a stripper isn't bad. It's not... I've been told stories about her stripping days that are bad by people that used to be friends with her. Because Blair used to talk a lot about her stripper life before. And she would tell it in Discord servers that she was friends with people, right? Blair used to brag online to anyone and everyone about being a stripper. People only started caring about it when she tried to silence other people talking about it. Yeah, the stripper part wasn't bad. Now, there's some stuff I'm not sharing that I know about her stripper past that I've been told by third parties, multiple, that corroborate the story about her being a stripper. Now, this story that these people were told by Blair, right, is really bad, and I'm not sharing it, but it's really fucking bad. Has anything good ever happened in a Discord server? Right, so all those sad milk videos come out, right? And then the lore happens. The lore. And by now, there's a whole discourse about her, right? But even more so, the H-bomb video comes out. And that obliterates her. That obliterates her quite a lot. She chastised... Yeah. I think it's important to note, aside from the pedo allegations thing, she chastised others for not having safer work spaces. Being a stripper has nothing to do with that, but speaks to her lies. That's true. The point of all this to say is that Blair's presentation of the timeline, in my opinion, as a professional who works in this space, is completely inaccurate. All right? Is disingenuous, even, and preys on people not understanding the space of online internet drama. Okay? She could have gone to drama YouTubers had she not ruined her career and asked for an optics check on that horrendous video. There is a reality where Blair saved her career, but she decided to double down and try and pedo jacket the click. But to put the onus on Oz, Felix, Wonder, does not make any sense. Does not make any sense. This part of the stream submitted into court et al. Professor Teasel. If it Among Us makes it into court, you know, it's like the Too Mad stuff where Too Mad's schizophrenic tweeting while holding a picture of a gun ended up in court, you know. And then he killed himself. Or, you know, died of a drug overdose, whatever. Could you imagine them playing this stream in court? Where, like, the first 10 minutes are me talking about jerking off inside a mason jar? But it's absolutely outrageous. And we're only 4 minutes into the video. It's been an hour. Holy shit.
In the outro, I will be refunding the new GoFundMe once all terms are met, and the lawsuit is officially over.
Yeah, assuming a settlement is met, people will be refunded. I will say, I don't think Blair will accept these settlement terms. But by God, do I want that to happen, because I just think it would be really neat.
Filings and all. If you're curious as to why I'm even offering Blair a potential settlement in the outro, that will be explained there, as there are numerous factors in my personal life that I've recently had to heavily consider and prioritize minimizing or even removing causes of stress. That being said, I have no issue, hesitations, or fears in connection to proceeding with this lawsuit. I am confident in the direction things are going, and I just want to offer a path to end this before we're stuck in this for years on end. This will be further explored in the outro. As stated in my September update video, Blair and I dated, just in case this context is missing. It was never my goal to make any of this about relationship drama. However, despite the actual timeline of events which have occurred, Blair is trying to paint her entire downfall on YouTube as being nothing more than my actions towards her as a jealous ex. I'm not jealous towards your current partner, Blair, only sympathetic. I encourage all of you to fact check this timeline as I go. I'm being both as detailed and as quick as I can here because, again, Blair, in my opinion, is actively obfuscating the timeline in her lawsuit in an attempt to paint herself as a victim who did nothing to deserve the scrutiny delivered onto her. On April 20th, 2023, the story begins with a tweet produced by Blair which attacked Legal Eagle for copying her style. Legal Eagle would quickly...
Oh my God.
retort, explaining he had been using these standard practice editing styles, which included standard documentarian effects such as the classic skeuomorphism torn paper effect, as well as the simple action of highlighting text, which all can easily be found as stock templates online. In this Twitter thread, Blair had also levied accusations against members of Legal Eagle's team as proof of this copying, by showing an editor of Legal Eagle asking for help with how a certain effect is achieved. This is standard practice amongst YouTubers and editors. Blair responded to Legal Eagle by deleting these accusations and did not provide a public apology or any form of public justification for her actions. This further...
So she accused a lawyer, and I believe Legal Eagle might be an expert in copyright law, if I'm familiar with his work. So she accused a lawyer of that. He is. Okay, so she accused a lawyer of that and then reneged on that accusation. He's done videos on the subject. Imagine, guys, if you went to a subject matter expert and said, you are committing the exact thing you critique and look at all the time. How little do you have to know about Legal Eagle to make that mistake? Okay, which, by the way, she should know about Legal Eagle, because Legal Eagle often associates himself with BreadTube, of which Blair associates herself with too, by being a member of the leftist mafia. So for her to be completely ignorant of that speciality with Legal Eagle is insane. Okay?
Stirred the pot and made people ask questions. This same day, April 20th, H-Bomber Guy would post a tweet publicly displaying an example of Blair copying a documentary herself, although he used the word plagiarism. At the time, I found it incredibly telling that H-Bomber Guy had such a specific clipped comparison ready to go that same day, with an exact video. I do wonder if Blair had the same realization that I did, that the only way Harris would have a clip like this is if something major was in the works. Foreshadowing is a literal... On April 23rd, 3 days later, we would see Click post his Twitter with an exact video. I do wonder if Blair had the same realization that I did, that the only way Harris would have a clip like this is if something major was in the works. Foreshadowing is a literal... On April...
Yeah, probably foreshadowing his nuclear bomb of a video that changed the discourse. H Bomber guy had his clips loaded like he was preparing a spell. Nope. H Bomber guy joke. Okay. It was a joke, Diesel. Sorry, guys. I only watch based content like Freddy Got Fingered or Running Fruits animation 10 hours compilation.
23rd, 3 days later, we would see Click post his Twitter thread. I emphasize the 3 days portion because at this point, Blair was still yet to address the Legal Eagle scenario, pushing Click, a former collaborator of hers, to publicly distance himself from her to avoid the flack that her actions had been causing for any and
Now, you might wonder, why would someone like the Click comment on that, right? Now, Blair's audience is the kind of audience that would go to other YouTubers who are mutuals of Blair's and say, hey, you associate with Blair and she was accused of this. What do you have to say for it? Right? She has the kind of audience that would do that. Because the anti-MLM audience, right? The business ethics, business casket type audience is going to act like that. The same way the drama community seems to generate their own personal drama via spurgs. Okay? We all have our little idiosyncratic behaviors. That happens to be that genre of YouTube's idiosyncratic behavior.
all
It's finger wagging constantly. Yes.
who were at any point associated with her. This is not an accusation. I am just stating the unforeseen cause and effect of Blair's
So by that point, Blair had an accused Click of being a pedophile. That would come later.
documented actions. This same night, from a bathtub apparently, Wonderstruck, now known as Hi I'm Wonder, would post his Twitter thread detailing his prior dealings with Blair, as well as the harm that he felt he suffered when close to her. I was unaware that Wonder was going to make this tweet. He and I normally aren't on voice call when he's in the tub. This will be important later when we move into the details of the lawsuit, as Blair claims Wonder
A woke scold is a great way to put it. Yeah.
and I had essentially masterminded her downfall. I didn't know about the thread until I received a now deleted DM from Blair asking me what she should do, followed by several missed calls from her. I wish I had a record of this Discord DM, but by the next morning, this DM would be deleted. Because Blair did not publicly provide a reason or explanation towards her actions, and with the emergence of H Bomber Guy, Click, and Wonderstruck's threads, it left Twitter frenzied for
Well, okay, so here's the thing, 2D Trash, right? When you say let's remember how this works. Let's remember how this works, right? So somebody's like, he harbors pedophiles in his Discord server. What does your brain think of that guy who harbors pedophiles in his Discord server? You think he's a pedophile too. Okay, birds of a feather, right? Right, you're burying the lead there, but this ultimately all ends up in the same place where you're just saying he's a pedophile without saying it. Right? There are a lot of ways that you can say someone's a pedophile without saying it. We see that a lot for some reason. It's the implication, right? You're burying the lead a little, but you're getting to the same point.
answers. Those who were familiar with my connections to Blair, as it was public knowledge we were roommates, would begin to DM me or brigade my livestream chats with questions on the situation. Questions such as if I still supported Blair and if I could provide a reason or explanation for her actions. It was because of users constantly asking me to answer on behalf of Blair, as well as my past colleagues, finally speaking out, that I broke my silence and posted my thread. A thread where I took accountability for my actions in support of Blair and defended the credibility of my colleagues. I posted my Twitter thread April 24th, 2023 at roughly 4 a.m. my time. That same morning, I had this text message interaction with Blair. Please note, it is only because of the current trajectory of this lawsuit, with myself awaiting litigation privileges on these matters, that I am no longer leaving my information redacted, as I had previously intended to do so now 1 year ago. Blair,
All right.
Monday, April 24th at 8:24
Oh, he's
a.m.
going to read it.
So I just saw your tweets, and
Thank God, Oz.
now I understand why when I called you, you didn't answer. I'm going to take some time to formulate my thoughts, but ultimately, Oz, I hope you really do find your happiness in life. I hope you find your peace, your satisfaction, your perfect black cat, all of that. I'm not sure what you want from an outcome in this situation, but I guess I'll have to figure that out later. Blair, I just want you to realize you've caused pain. You've caused
I'm trying to think of like what her mentality was there, because remember, this became a lawsuit, right? So, but what I think she's doing is like she's tugging at the heartstrings a little bit, you know?
me pain. I don't care about the drama. I just want you to realize how much you've hurt me. I've been doing my best to hold everything in for years now at this point. If you actually did read my thread, you would know what I want. Peace. I just want to be free. I just want to be able to breathe. I have read that you want peace. I thought we were doing better. I wish it could have been something we talked about on our own time instead of dogpiling. I'm left more confused than anything. Well, I assume you don't want to talk anymore. All I ever wanted was for you to realize you hurt me. Not just in the relationship, I do not care about that. You hurt me as a person to my very core. At some point, Blair, you need to see the pattern. Well, Oz, I cared about the relationship too. I cared about all of it. You hurt me as a person too, and ripped everything wide open today. And if doing this all to me helps you feel better, then that's okay. I'll take it. I'm sorry, Oz. I hope this helps you find your peace. Except you aren't. You're going to continue to drag my name through the mud. You're going to continue to be who you are.
Okay.
And that's
So something I want to mention here, right, is that throughout Blair's time and career, speaking amongst people, other YouTubers, Crew World Happy Mind, for example, Blair has this. Blair likes to tell people's business. Okay? She likes to tell people's business, and she likes to tell people what they should think, right? In my opinion. She does a lot of that. All right? The idea is that behind the scenes, you ruin their career. This happens a lot, actually. Tons. She's not unique, right? Basically trying to blackball a YouTuber or creator in a space to keep them from succeeding or getting things out of it, right? Yes, but you better not talk about her. Yes.
okay. I just hope that you stop painting people as your weekly villain. It's your biggest flaw and it's always gotten you
Blair's like that girly who's like, I hate drama. I just want to relax and hang out with my girlies. And then she's always the one that's in drama. That's how she is. That's her, in my opinion.
the most trouble. It's what caused the most harm. Blair, I'm sorry I ripped everything wide open, but I never had the chance to heal. I never had the chance to feel peace. Instead, I went to therapy and have a PTSD diagnosis. Instead, I gave myself chemical burns because I was too scared to say no. I'm afraid of you, Blair. I'm getting a second opinion on the PTSD. I don't want it to be true, and I don't trust Talkspace to that extent. What the hell are you talking about with chemical burns? And this purple portion here is Blair airing her mental health. I'm leaving this censored.
I want to mention something. He's censoring Blair's discussion of her mental health. You know what Blair didn't offer to Wonder? Privacy about his mental health. Just goes to show you the level of character difference between Oz and Blair. Okay?
I don't want to drag your name in the mud, which is why I'm going to you.
Normal people would stop the convo here. She cannot let go. I honestly, if she actually read the thread, which I don't know, maybe she didn't. I don't know why she's even bothering to speak with him. Like, what does she think she's going to get out of this?
Instead of Twitter or whatever. I would go to an actual doctor. Colorado is tightening down on telemedicine stuff, FYI. I'm working on it. Thanks for the heads up. I would rather talk to you in a phone call, in person, whatever. I would rather try to work on things and work out things over, I don't know, whatever else the other options are. I don't want either of us hurting. I know there is no band-aid solution, but I know talking helps. Just for some context, why I didn't take this is because Blair does have a habit of recording conversations. This is evident with the Madison situation from Cruel Happy Mind. I was fearful she would take my words out of context to suit her narrative.
Yeah. So Blair had a habit of recording calls and storing all of those for the future, which isn't unheard of if you're somebody that comes from the drama space, right? But Blair clip chimps, right?
I need time. I need to see a real therapist first.
Honestly, if either of them if either of them had taken a call, it would probably have been in Oz's best interest to record the call anyway, as well.
I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry.
Which, by the way, if you're a YouTuber who ends up in a drama, just record the calls that you get into if you're talking about it. Like, why wouldn't you? Come on. Like, don't be stupid. Some people are just vindictive and will try to fuck you over. Don't be stupid. Unironically, go record the calls.
You're hurting as well. I really am. But I need to start putting my needs first.
They're in Colorado.
I will put my needs first, too. Good luck out there. Take care, please. Can't guarantee that, but I will be alive. Just so we're clear, that was a joke. Probably a bad one, but a joke. And I'll have the officer remove the
You
bolo
record
off
our
my
work
house,
calls.
too. I guess I'll be heading down then. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have it in my name either. Just show them any verifiable threats, and they'll do it. And this was the last time I spoke to Blair. For additional context, the bolo in question, as Blair described it, was essentially swatting protection. It was a way that if someone were to attempt to swat my home, the officer in question would then look up my address and see that I am a public figure and give me a call before showing up to my door in SWAT gear. Blair removed this protection when I spoke out against her, or at least she claims. I don't know if this actually exists or not. But to me,
That's wild.
in my eyes,
wild.
on this day, after I had spoken out against Blair, Blair removed protections that I would have against swatting.
Okay. Okay. Oz, please go. I hope, Oz, you've gone to... I'm almost certain Oz is watching the stream. Okay. But Oz, go to your police department and go make sure that that is in place so you don't get swatted, please. Go do that. Go do that now. Okay? That's important. Go do that.
Actions which she did in fact put in place, but had also explained to me what the purpose of them were. There is a lot to unpack here. However, these messages are important as I believe they help demonstrate why I have come to the conclusions I have on her motives. It is worth noting, I am the one who asked for space. I am the one who wanted nothing to do with her. She is the one who apologized and desperately sought out a rapid solution to remove my words from the internet. I finally said no. This same day, April 24th, One Topic would post his thread in opposition to Blair. April 28th, Blair would upload her video, Illuminati Exposed, which served as a direct response to her detractors. Blair had taken drama off of Twitter with minimal viewership and plastered it before her large audience for the world.
Yes, if it had just stayed on Twitter, Illuminati would have been fine. I think when Illuminati took it to her YouTube channel, she allowed her audience that literally sits around and all this stuff and just looks at it all day. She amplified it tenfold, okay? Blair took this to the next level when she made a video. Blair is the one who put it on a pedestal in front of her entire audience to look at under a microscope.
See, in this video, she finally showed that she did in fact apologize to Legal Eagle in private. If this was made public, I believe we would not be here right now, as myself and others would not have received questions and pressure from viewers to make a statement. In this video, which is still public, Blair attempted to address the Twitter threads from both Click and Wonder. In doing so, she also used this opportunity to leverage several accusations against them, accusations which she, as it appears based on her actions, had been holding on for nearly 3 years to use at her convenience for an exact moment like this. In my opinion, based on what we see from these events, either Blair knew her evidence was a misrepresentation of facts and only worth sharing as a Hail Mary attempt to destroy someone's reputation, or she willingly held evidence of minors being harmed within Click's server and only reported on it 3 years later when it benefited her. I cannot fathom any other reason for the events transpiring the way that they have. In fact, back in 2020, by the way she spoke within her messages, Blair seemed very eager to find an opportunity to destroy Click with this exact evidence. Or, to use her words from 2020, nah, I'm not gonna.
Wonder is worried you and Click will go into mutually assured destruction, but, and then I can't read that, that's too blurry. Nah, I'm not going to attack Click unless it becomes public gossip or a drama channel picks it up. Then I will nuke him. I'm not going to attack Click unless it becomes public gossip. But okay, why? Okay, what the fuck, Blair? Because based on the evidence you hid, you were like, "I'm hiding a nuclear bomb of drama," and it was like, the clique has pedophiles in his Discord. Like, you just were like, hey, this kid might be getting molested for all I know, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Like, that's literally what you just said.
Gonna attack click unless it becomes public gossip or a drama channel picks it up. Then I will nuke him. In this response video, Blair accused Click of some fairly horrendous things, which he did address in full with
Which by the way, if the only accusation levied against Click was that the Click said a slur when he was a teenager, right? Every single drama channel would have laughed in her face, okay, if it was just that. Because that is fucking hilarious. All right? That is such a nothing burger, Blair, to try and accuse someone of. It's hilarious.
in his own response video. Now, this is a retelling of well-documented public events which transpired publicly. None of this is new information. Blair also had a chapter dedicated to Wonder where she plastered his mental health for the world to see. Wonder is a former employee of Blair's, meaning that Blair had exposed private and sensitive information, also known as PII, which included conversations she had with his therapist, for her entire audience of, at the time, roughly 1.7 million subscribers. Blair also accused Wonder of mistreatment of his dog, as well as other false accusations that Wonder was forced to address. There is, of course, the infamous 3-minute section dedicated to me where Blair is in tears. I have my own opinion on these tears, but I plan to tackle this at a different time, as it serves no purpose here beyond pointing out that, in my opinion, Blair is attempting to leverage private details for public pity, which...
How did she have access to his therapist? I think it was Wonder spoke to his therapist. Wonder told Blair about his therapist. That's what I seem to remember. Though I could be wrong on that.
Some people did in fact take at face value and demanded I apologize to Blair on various platforms. This...
By the way, when you listen to that part in the video where Blair is crying, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like she worked herself up into a fake cry. All right? Like, I've listened to women cry. That makes me sound like a sociopath. Let me just clarify that it was not the context of which I wish to say that in. Women weep tears of joy around me, all right, ladies and gentlemen. but it felt like if you guys ever had that ex that like worked themselves up on purpose, that's what that was. That's what it sounded like to me. Yeah, crocodile tears. All right, Diesel, humble brag. Listen, I saved myself from sounding like a crazy person.
section's cumbersome wording is very particular to the legal side of
Boss man, I'll make the hoes cry.
things that will make sense when looking at her, in my opinion, legal hypocrisy. She played in the mud just as much as everyone else did. I cannot emphasize enough that Blair had taken Click and Wonder's Twitter complaints and negative experiences of her past behavior, complaints made publicly as reasoning for their discontinued association with her after her public folly with Legal Eagle, and would then post a response video where she herself levied accusations against other content creators, which warranted a response to defend themselves against her claims. I understand that to a vast majority of
at first, everybody was very, distant about it, right? The Sad Milk people didn't regale any of these past problems in the workspace, right? Blair threw all these insane accusations into the discussion, okay? Which prompted those videos. Again, Blair stood in a puddle of gasoline with a match and lit herself on fire. It was her who did it, not Oz.
this is obvious, but Blair attempts to paint her video as an attempt to de-escalate matters within the original filings of the lawsuit. Ironically,
they didn't even want to talk about it, if I remember. Yeah, they didn't want to talk about it. Okay, do you guys realize that there are more people in Sad Milk than the ones that are discussing this? Okay? This Oz, One Topic, Click, Damian Lee, Flinders, There might be one or two more. One of them was Blair, so there might be one more. But like, there are people who haven't spoken a lick about this, which is their place to do so, whether or not they speak about it or not. But regardless, there are people who are salty to Alien. Okay. There are people who are staying out of it, right? Who were there.
Factual allegation was later mysteriously removed in future amended versions of her legal complaint. 34. Regarding the false accusations listed above, Blair made one public post, attempting to debunk the misinformation. She has not publicly addressed the situation further in an attempt to de-escalate it. While I have my theories on why this was removed, the exact details are unknown.
Yeah, I can't... Okay, so I'm of two minds about it, right? Because I'm a drama reporter, part of me... So there's a lot. People have very strong opinions about me and drama creators, but I would argue if you're a YouTuber who's like passing through, which they do, probably make like be friendly with drama creators because you never know. But 8 members in total, all 7 are friends again after Blair got out of their lives. Okay, but I'm of two minds about the getting involved or not. Depends on what you know. Depends on what you know in a situation like this. I'll use Yandere Dev as an example. If I knew about what was going on with Yandere Dev and it never became public knowledge, I would feel that I have a personal moral obligation to do something about it, right? Which is obviously very like that's a high risk game you play, right? But it's one of those things where I think I would probably be fine because I kind of, I get into mud about this stuff a lot, right? If there are people that know something about Blair that could do good for the people who are on the hook, right? Because Felix and Oz are the ones that are on the hook right now. It's not the rest of these guys that are in court. It's Oz, right? But if they know something that can help, they shouldn't just be sitting there and going, well, it's not my fucking problem. I guess I don't need to deal with it. I know they don't say it like that, right? But I'm building a straw man for the sake of my argument, right? If it was something that could change how that goes, I'd feel like you'd be like, hey, here you go. Here's the information. Which, if I recall, Felix is the one who shared stuff with the clique when the clique was being accused of being a pedophile. Which, by the way, again, she is so lucky the clique didn't like blow her up with a lawsuit. Because if I was the clique, I would have sued Blair. Someone accusing you of being a pedophile is crazy.
In her current complaint, there is currently no reference to her ever uploading this video or any of the public comments she's made, making it appear as though she never played in the mud, and her criticisms came from nowhere.
And again, Blair is completely aware of how the drama cycle works. She was intimately involved in it on a personal level. Okay? She rubs shoulders with drama people. Okay? She knows exactly how this shit works. She should have known better.
Here's a quick search in the second amended complaint to demonstrate this. This document will be on full display in future chapters within part 2. More on this, of course, when we reach the legal debunking. Sorry to edge you all on like this with this tease, but my point here is that Blair's story has already had numerous revisions, and she sees her video as an attempt at de-escalation. If you recall, among the many other accusations she levies, Blair accused YouTube
Oz mentioned edging. Oz edge.
The Click of harboring pedophiles in his Discord server. In what world this is a de-escalation? I cannot say. Now, of course, I do believe that Blair is entitled to speak publicly on her personal retelling of events. However, I personally find it to be brash, hypocritical, and even monstrous to then sue those who argue against said retelling of events. Something rocks in glass houses. Following Blair's April 20th video, this would of course follow
Me when the court reporter has to put the word edging in the document.
with a twit longer drafted by Wonder, posted April 29th, in a rapid attempt to defend himself from the multitude of new allegations that Blair had dropped on his doorstep. May 2nd, Click would upload his response, detailing his experiences with Sad Milk as well as what he had personally gone through. Near the end of this video, documentation is shown from an individual who was previously anonymous, which helped provide Click with supporting evidence to bolster his claims as well as to dismantle the many accusations thrown forward by Blair. This individual is now being sued by Blair. His online handle is Felix the Kit Kat. He was a former Discord moderator, later turned manager at Pyramid Entertainment LLC. We will be diving into his portion of the lawsuit later in this video, in dismantling the claims Blair has set forth within her lawsuit.
You know what's funny? You know how much information about Blair I know because of her Discord mods? Not Felix, by the way. There are others, Blair. You have people that fucked you over that, like, you don't even know. I bet you'd like to know, Blair. You'd like to know who I know, but I wouldn't say who. You know, they get journalist source privilege. All right, you put a gun in my head, you could kill me. I'm not gonna say, because you'd sue them.
It is of my opinion that Felix has been included for retaliatory reasons, as with him being a former employee, Blair had access to his home address.
Never trust Discord mods, bro. You know how much information comes from Discord mods? It's insane.
Thus, the means to serve him with legal papers. Felix is among the individuals who the new GoFundMe will be aiding. May 11th would be the date that Wonder would release his video, an hour-and-a-half long rebuke of the claims Blair had laid out against him, some of which include refuting the alleged mistreatment of his dog, James, as well as being forced to out elements of his mental health. Wonder was forced to relive his trauma in front of the world because Blair, in my opinion, either recklessly and carelessly or purposefully and meticulously included them as attempts to attack his character and credibility to lower.
Is. I have decent OPSEC, but if anybody was gonna try, I guess yeah, it would be the mods. But like, what's the worst I've done in like the mod chat is like say get nuked at Spurg, like
the needed public standard of evidence so she could pin him as being a mentally unstable
he can not answer me. Cloudy, you send me like 5 TikToks and I'm like, well, I'm busy, let me answer it later, and I get around to it and I go, oops, I forgot, because it's so much.
Who mistreats his dog. I also made cameo interviews in this video where I spoke on what I witnessed during the time that Wonder was
Pooplamau.
Thank you for that. Whatever money format that is, I don't know what SEK stands for, but thank you.
living with Blair and I, giving third-party account to some of the personal stories that Blair made public. My words in this video were in response to Blair's public comments. I will add that as of this video's production, Wonder has not been served by the courts and is currently on the table for dismissal. If he does get served, the GoFundMe will be at his disposal for legal fees.
Swedish kroner. Okay. Pay your mods for their silence. Aren't you all glad that Nani is on our side, guys?
This then leads to Blair's infamous posts made to her YouTube community tab and Twitter on May 26th, speaking on how she intends to clear the false allegations that have surfaced against her. Let's actually take a peek at this real quick. Hey everyone, I'm fully aware of the recent false allegations that have surfaced. I want to take a moment to publicly state that I am taking these allegations seriously and I'm committed to rectifying this situation promptly and appropriately. I understand the concerns and potential impact that these false allegations have caused. My team and I are actively working behind the scenes to gather all relevant facts. I am committed to transparency and accountability throughout this process. Rest assured that I am taking decisive action to address this situation.
Scared the shit out of me.
I will provide
2D Trash TM celebrates 7 months of membership. Pay mods for their silence about public gooning.
There's no gooning allowed in the server. There's no gooning allowed in the server. Let me clarify. Let me clarify to the public. There is no gooning allowed in the server.
updates and communicate any necessary actions as soon as possible. Thank you to those of you who are standing by me during this challenging time. I will not allow these false allegations to be weaponized as a way to silence my voice. I appreciate your patience and understanding during this challenging time. I am dedicated to upholding my channel's values and delivering on our commitments. I am
What do you
confident
mean
that
that's all we do? Oh my god.
truth will prevail. Sincerely, Blair Zahn. I would like to note that Blair has been publicly silent on her platform for an entire year on this matter. Blair claimed that false allegations were being weaponized to silence her voice, but she has, in my opinion, been weaponizing the legal system to silence further criticism of her actions. I too, Blair, am confident the truth will prevail, which is why I'm actually breaking my silence, because I'm exhausted with playing the game your way. This would follow with the very next day, Blair sending out cease and desist to first Wonder and then later myself, roughly one.
Cat was taken celebrates 12 months of membership.
Happy 1 year,
Bottom left
Cat.
quadrant denials.
I know I'm a bottom left quadrant. Okay, I know that's where I am. If anybody's denying, it's Hal who's denying her position in life.
1 week later, June 5th. At this point, and up until September of 2023, I would have only made a single Twitter thread, as well as possibly 5 minutes of cameo time in Wonder's video discussing matters.
All I have is my honesty and my height, which is 6'4". Cloudy, the more you say that you're 6'4", the less I believe that you're actually 6'4". I ain't never met a tall Latina in my life. Okay? I ain't never met a tall Latina.
Which Blair had previously made public. Between the two cease and desists, we would see one
So
topic.
I found out that Diesel likes sweet muscle mommy sweat. I mean, like, I wouldn't be opposed if it was offered to me. I already said yeah. I mean, yeah, probably. Like, if it was offered to me, not like in a glass, but like, I'm not gonna. In certain circumstances, I would say yes. Please. Please.
Release a video discussing his experiences with Sad Milk on June 2nd. His video was made for his
Diesel has no shame. No, I held it back a little bit there.
audience and acted as more of an open form of communication with those who had questions.
Inshallah, brother. Inshallah. Inshallah, it is white boy summer. Call me Lisa Mal Gaib the way I'm drinking the spice off her abs.
Full of screenshots, and he really had nothing to prove. We would then see the release of Swoop's video June 6th, which I was barely even mentioned in. This will be important for the second part. In the following week, specifically June 14th, 2023 at 9:03 a.m., which I would also like to add that these were denied by the court, which is why I had never heard of them until very recently. 2 civil protection orders against myself as well as Wonder were filed by Blair. Blair's
That's outrageous to file a civil protection order against them. That's outrageous. Think about it. Too mad, civil protection order, he could still tweet.
cites general harassment that she had received as grounds for her civil protection against Wonder. Now, I would like to firmly state that if you've ever sent a threat of any kind to Blair, go fuck yourself. I don't want you in my audience or even remotely associated with me. You're selfish and only stroking your own ego, while simultaneously hurting everyone involved. But with that being said, I do want to briefly talk about a few details in the CPO ordered against me, which, again, was denied. where Blair accuses me of beating her dog, Casper. I deeply cared for him, and I find this accusation thrown into a CPO for sympathy from the judge to be revolting. I also, in my personal opinion, believe that this is further evidence of Blair twisting and manipulating facts, or in some cases, just outright lying. How fucking dare you accuse me of beating Casper after everything I did for you and him, which...
You know, the accusation of beating is very aetios.
Can we use muscle mommy sweat to make your coffee? Because I checked your fridge and saw you doing it.
I mean, you can do it. It might make it taste a little sour. But like, you know, God bless America. It is Pride Month, right? Like, anyway, Blair has yet to provide any evidence that he beat Casper ever. Like, where is that?
In your own video, Blair, you said it yourself. How much help I provided with Casper.
Why do you know that, boss? I don't know. I just assume sweat is like a little salty, a little sour, but you know, I'm not entertaining. I've entertained this enough.
There is more squabble listed within these denied CPOs that are just not worth entertaining at this moment. But if you do have more questions on these, I would like to refer you to Vangelina Skov, as she was able to cover these in full before their removal by the original leaker. Moving on from my personal emotions, the terms of both said CPOs are this. Petitioner requests that this court order to delete all posts X has made to social media since April 23, 2023, pertaining to Sad Milk, Petitioner, or her social media platforms. Refrain from posting about Petitioner or
I know, I was going to say crossover. Vangelina. I need to remember to message Vangelina back. She wanted to, like, learn D&D from me. And I just got, like, so busy with work, I just didn't message her back. She's also not on Discord a lot, but I still want to run a game with her in it.
social media content.
Diesel, why does every story you cover have some weird crossover? Because we all live in a society. You know, the internet's a lot smaller than you think.
On any of his social media accounts or on the
You answer no one. Yeah, I'm horrible with DMs.
social media accounts of others. Refrain from posting in the comments section of any of Petitioner's social media accounts. Refrain from interacting in any way with Petitioner's social media posts. Refrain from encouraging any third party to post in the comments section of Petitioner's social media accounts, or reposting any of Petitioner's original content for any purpose. Refrain from making any videos or media posts about Petitioner. This, in my opinion, was an attempt at a gag order to prevent all...
Yeah, that's a very wide. Basically, like, don't talk anywhere at all about Blair, basically, in that CPO, right? Too Mad could still talk about his case. He couldn't interact with the individual. Like, think about how, like, Too Mad could still talk about his case. He just couldn't at the girl.
future posting on Blair, specifically, in my opinion, to lay the groundwork for her to begin her lawsuit unopposed with no worry of public retaliation, as well as to prevent any and all future responses from being posted. It is my opinion that Blair had the motives to silence the critics so she could begin her attempt at rewriting the public narrative, the one we will see shortly within the lawsuit. The timeline becomes quiet until July 26th, 2023, where we would see 2 new videos posted about Blair, with their own original stories to tell.
Oh my god. Guys, Savannah Marie. Remember she's the lady who covered the pierogi payback, scammer payback. Let brother rest. No, I don't want him to fucking rest. He's an asshole. Rest in peace. I'm glad Too Mad's dead. There, you heard me say it.
One from Cruel World Happy Mind, as well as Savannah Marie. Cruel World Happy Mind would detail her alleged experiences with Blair, and how, according to Cruel World Happy Mind, while pregnant,
Rest in peace, Pink Buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna throw more respect for the fucking dildo that died than Too Mad.
she fell subject to a harassment campaign from Blair, and how Blair, in her eyes, actively weaponized a potential loss of pregnancy from how sick the stress made her to silence Madison from Cruel World Happy Mind. Savannah Marie levies accusations of plagiarism, the second person to make this accusation against Blair. Now, this is where my September video partially begins to come into play. Unfortunately, due to the slow crawl of legal processors, I would only be aware of half of Blair's actions at this time.
Volcanoes in chat. Shout out Pink Buddy. Shout out Pink Buddy, the Timo fucking vibrator, alright? Her Kegels blew that thing up. Alright, get some volcanoes in the chat for Pink Buddy. Wow, we've covered some actually, like, insane drama this past year on Diesel IRL. I'm so glad to be a streamer. This is so much more fun.
On August 22nd, 2023, Blair began the official proceedings to put my home into foreclosure. If you are unaware of the details on this, please see my September upload titled Let's Talk Illuminati Drama Update. In this video, I explain the details of how I even ended up in this position. This foreclosure process was based upon a debt that I had accrued with her while we were dating. I had no warning, no notice of behind payments, no communication that this would be happening. Instead, I found out from a realtor who excitedly told me my condition of foreclosure and asked to purchase my home from me. What a way to wake up. To further clarify, as I stated in my September video, I was indeed behind on payments. It is my opinion that Blair introduced a payment structure that she knew I would be destined to fall behind on. I, originally, wasn't concerned as before I foolishly signed those deeds of trust, Blair assured me that the only way she would get her payments was if I paid or if the home was sold. I never took the time to realize that she meant she could sell my home through foreclosure. If I knew it granted her this power, I would have never signed
Hey, I hate you. I'm foreclosing on your house.
those documents. Again, if this is all new information, please go see my September update video. August 29th, 2023, Blair would submit a new set of temporary restraining orders, which were denied, as well as her lawsuit against Felix, Wonder, and myself for defamation and breach of contract. It is of my opinion that Blair timed these events so I could only fight one, the foreclosure or the lawsuit, not both. I do believe that if I did not speak out against her in April, she would not have put my home through foreclosure proceedings. With these actions, timed alongside the lawsuit, it does make me firmly believe, in my opinion, it's retaliatory in nature. The restraining orders in question were to, once more, prevent publication of any information on Blair. In this restraining order, Blair directly cites the video.
There's a reason I'll never rely on anyone, especially for money and stuff, if I can help it. You know, a lot of my so my friends, I will pay them if they do labor for me, right? That's different. But they're like I had talks with people, especially women, right? It's not as common with men, but it happens. Obviously, we're looking at it having happened, where men have so much money, right? Because traditionally they're the breadwinners, all that shit. And they can just exhibit a lot of pressure on the woman because they don't earn enough to move out on their own or stuff like that, and it's just bad. And so I always tell women in particular, it's like you need to be able to be self-sufficient, not because if you have the goal of being like a mother or something and you want to just do that with your life, like fine, but you need to make sure you have money just in case. So just in case something happens, something goes down. Right? I mean, that's just for everybody, right? Where you need to be able to have stuff in the back, right? So that way people can be like your people, your family, you can be safe. It like that shit happens. I've seen it. Okay? Like always have your own money. Exactly. Always have your own money.
I was originally producing as a documentary.
Where can I find one of these guys with money asking for a friend? Go to the Cracker Barrel for senior breakfast. You'll find some really good ones there.
On her actions as grounds to allow this pseudo-gag order to proceed. Quoting this TRO, here, however, plaintiff's request for relief will cause defendants no harm because they simply must refrain from publishing what is essentially an online op-ed piece, which they have admitted will lambaste plaintiffs. Should the court deem plaintiffs' claims to be unnecessary, defendants can simply publish their video. Scared of something? Truth being, before we get into more details, Blair could have easily just responded.
Financial abuse, honestly, is probably one of the worst forms. I know, obviously, it's hard to just, label those on, a tier list or something. But the amount of pressure that can be exerted is insane.
But the silence and sudden bombardment of legal speaks volumes, Blair. Because please remember, at this point
Yeah,
of
scared
her
of something was
filings,
very good.
I'd only made a public Twitter thread and approximately 5 minutes worth of cameo time in an interview in Wonder's video.
Yeah, Oz said the least, yet received the most, like, legal from this, which is very telling, I think.
I would not be made aware of the lawsuit or legal filings until September 27th, more than a week after my September video was published. I had elected, out of respect for the legal system, to remain silent until now. It's not that I'm lacking respect for it with the publication of this video, I'm lacking respect for Blair and the escapades she's elected to throw me into. The legal proceedings have been grueling, from a mix of anxiety-laden sleepless nights to curveballs that throw off my entire day. It can be very difficult to live a normal life when every day is filled with stress and anxiety, every email notification laced with dread. It's exhausting, and this video exists because I'm tired. The lawsuit starts with the service in late September, roughly a week or so after my September upload, specifically September 27th. I would be in and out of calls with my lawyer, going over the facts of the matter, looking over everything I could, and providing as much evidence as possible. Unfortunately, I can't just drop a folder of evidence on the judge's desk with a solid "nuh-uh" and walk away.
Diesel got lost again. We need those notes. Okay, he's going over the timeline of his introduction to the legal of all of this, all right? We're at, like, the court section.
A shame, really. The inner workings for how the legal proceedings have gone so far are mostly publicly documented by the creators previously mentioned. If the time comes, I will explore the full timeline of the lawsuit, including Blair's attempts at settling this lawsuit, grotesquely in her favor, for all parties.
So when is the woman tier list coming out? You promised it last year.
Did I? I feel like you should check with Now Recording about that.
Involved. But for now, I'm leaving these be. Once you make it to the outro, my reasoning will make sense. During the proceedings of this lawsuit, H-Bomber Guy would upload not one, but 2 videos covering Blair's prior acts of plagiarism. One being a 40-minute section within a 4-hour-long, 20 million view video.
All women are S tier. That's a tipster ass tier list right there. That's a tipster tier list. Tipster mommy tier list.
Was an individually uploaded 20-minute video with over 3 million views focusing exclusively on Blair. More people are aware of Blair because of
Dude, H-Bomber Guy and this fucking video. Did I not say? How many times have I said, chat, that this video has been a disaster for the drama landscape? Okay? Do you know how many times this fucking video comes up as, like, a linchpin, like, epic moment in history moment? Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, you were promised a video and I have not finished it.
We promised a video like yesterday and never got it? Or did I just not get a notification?
I didn't publish it on FPS Diesel.
Bomber Guy than they are for any of the other drama-related reasons surrounding her. This timeline will be
yeah, the video is fine. It was overhyped. No, we didn't get our video.
All of you to double check, as I was only focusing on videos related to the lawsuit in question, as well as all and any first-party sources. This now leads us to Felix. Through the last 9 months, Felix and I have been wading through the murky waters of a lawsuit Blair has set forth. If you're unfamiliar with the nitty-gritty of the legal
I know, I made Xylee mad. I made Xylee mad by not doing it.
The Kit Kat is. Again, this is a former Discord moderator for Blair, turned employee at Pyramid Entertainment, the leading plaintiff, in this lawsuit Blair has hoisted us into. As of the time of writing, Felix's motion to dismiss was denied, and he will be proceeding through standard legal proceedings with Blair. I will be going into the specifics of the judge's order shortly, and to firmly clarify, the judge is not connected to or well educated on the YouTube space, nor the drama which has transpired. He is doing his job and acting according to the documents provided in front of him.
2 lies then.
2 lies then? Thoughtful face, thoughtful face.
It'll happen soon, I swear. It's coming. I'm in a rut, guys, okay? I'm in a rut. Personally, I'm just, like, fucking just in a rut. Alright? I'm creatively, like, fucked right now. I don't know what to tell you.
More on this soon, as the legal system is far more complicated than an episode of Law & Order may lead you to believe. As a reminder, the lawsuit isn't even out of the starting gate. This could turn into
Diesel, we're just keeping you honest. Thank you.
an exhausting fight ahead of all of us, and is far from over for those of us who are directly involved. It'll be my purpose here to present Blair's claims against Felix, the counter towards them, and why I feel these claims were created in bad faith, as well as going over why the judge made his ruling the way he did, as, in my opinion, it helps to shine light into Blair's legal strategy.
Wait. Does rut mean something sexual? What did I just say? Did I just say something? What does that mean? What did I just say? I've never heard this before. It's so much over. Running. Wait, I didn't know. I thought. What do you mean? Streamer didn't know. Tell me. I need to know.
Top 10 Diesel lies. Number 1 new vid soon. Number 2 I am a switch. Number 3 skibidi toilet is funny. All Diesel do is charge phone, eat hot chip, and lie.
There's a lot going on right now, and I need to work myself through it. Okay, so first of all, skibidi toilet is funny, and you're stinky. You're stinky. Okay, but two. I am a switch. And the video is coming soon. Just so we know. Okay, so rutting can be an animal breeding season, but it's also a ditch. Okay, wait. Diesel is a Nintendo Switch. So, like a rut is like when a deer is, like when a male deer is, like when a buck is looking for a doe. Let me Google this. I need to Google this. Rut. Okay, first of all, guys. Rut. A sunken track or groove made by the passage of vehicles. Definition 2. An uninspired routine or pattern of behavior that one continues unthinkingly or because change is difficult. 3. A regularly recurring condition of fertility during which breeding occurs in certain mammals.
Skibidi Diesel.
Skibidi Diesel. I just want to say, the period during which this condition occurs, sexual desire of deer, cattle, or various other mammals to be in heat. Also a period during which there is sex. Like, you know,
This is a
when animals
certified hood classic.
Rut was used instead of fuck on the TV show Firefly, so it's also become an alternate for fucking.
Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure that would also help me get out of my rut, but I'm not like offering myself right now, chat. I'm not offering myself. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I didn't know. I'm like, you know, okay. That's nice to know.
Diesel is trying to tell us he's very breedable.
I'm gonna go back to the video. I'm going back to the video. Oh, Siley, don't look right now. I literally did not know that. That's actually really interesting.
hand. Referring back to the timeline provided earlier, on May 2nd, 2023, YouTuber The Click, a comedy and meme channel, this will be an important distinction for later, produced his response to the April 20th video, Illuminati Exposed, where Blair had levied multiple allegations of misconduct against Click. Click responded to these accusations with a 30-minute
Skibidi dop
response
dop
to an
yes
8-minute
yes
chat.
skibidi quadrant 3 behaving.
Why did I change?
Hear that, ladies? He's not offering, but he is
Chapter
available.
within Blair's
Buy his
video.
coffee, use
Thoroughly,
code
in my
RUT.
opinion, clearing his name.
I'm
I would
just... Fuck off, chat.
also like to give the information specifically in this case to Blair and her lawyers that I did not reach out to Felix nor had contact with Felix since his departure from Pyramid Entertainment LLC until April 24th, where Felix would initially reach out to me as seen here. He would later reach out once again shortly after Blair's public video, where he felt that Blair had improperly retold events, as Felix was a direct witness to what had transpired with Click. Felix, of his own volition, wanted to help set the record straight on information unrelated to the operations of Pyramid Entertainment LLC. Within Click's video, the final chapter includes screenshots from a redacted individual. This individual in question was Felix the Kit Kat.
Pride spells are hard on all of us, okay? There's two very different chats going on right now, right? There's like, oh, Illuminati is just the worst. And the other part is like, so rutting is when animals are in heat.
In these screenshots, Felix provides documentation of Blair offering him $200 to sift through prior Sad Milk recordings to find evidence of Click using the R word. These screenshots in question are what Blair is suing for defamation, as well as breach of contract. What is not included within this lawsuit, however, is the screenshot evidence provided by Felix of Blair owning the alt account that was created to harass Click, as well as his cohorts in 2020.
Yeah, Doobie Schmertz is a old Blair alt filled with Blairisms.
Blair owning the alt account that was created to harass Click, as well as his cohorts in 2020. Take this information as you will. Blair is willing to...
What are you what do you mean? Personally, I think of Diesel as a non-traditional alpha that probably dates other alphas or betas rather than omegas. In prob, lets betas top. Very, quote, not gay, but $20 is $20 type stuff. What is, are you okay? Are you okay? What does that mean? What do you mean?
Sue over a DM showing her paying one of her, at the time...
Oh my god, Diesel doesn't know about Omegaverse. I have like some rough idea of what Omegaverse is. I thought it was just like gay yaoi for dysfunctional women on the internet.
Discord moderators $200 to dig up dirt on a prior collaborator, but Blair is not suing about the disclosure of information about owning an alt account to harass other YouTubers. Take that as you will. The claims against Felix the Kit Kat listed within the lawsuit are as follows. If you want the drama attached to the individual filings, you can visit Madcaster's channel where he's broken down each filing for the layman, as well as Vangelina Skov and more recently Tamimi. Up first, as claims against Felix, whose full name will be censored using orange. Defendant Felix is a former employee of plaintiffs. As a note, his employment began at or around the time of May 5th, 2021. As disclosed in the factual allegation number 18, Blair states, defendant Felix signed a confidentiality agreement on May 5th, 2021, signed the Felix agreement, which all employees are required to sign as a condition of employment. 63. Felix is in violation of this Felix agreement by turning over private messages between himself and Blair to another YouTuber, Mark Drek, to exploit in a YouTube video made to slander plaintiffs. This video...
That's outrageous. Because they're saying this video is made to slander Blair, right? And what's hilarious is that if they'd watched the video, what it would show that Blair slandered the clique and he's responding to his allegation.
Is available at, then YouTube link, and is titled Illuminati and Sad Milk. The
Omegaverse is Wolfpack sex dynamics, but one of them can get pregnant. I know what Omegaverse like is in like a passing sense. How much for you to read Omegaverse yaoi on stream?
How much for you to read Omegaverse yaoi on stream?
We'll put a pin in that. That sounds like a funny stream in the future. But blank super chat, okay. Thank you, Consciousness, for the 543. I feel like Diesel is getting bullied. Xylee, there's actually an alarming amount of women in the chat, and they just want me to read yaoi, so that's the problem. or Omegaverse, or whatever the fuck Omegaverse is. Omegaverse seems like something Quite would be into. I love you, Quite, but you know, I'm probably right.
Video was not produced, as Blair stated, to slander plaintiffs. This video, made by Click, was in self-defense from Blair. Felix came to the aid of someone defending themselves. What Blair has done in this lawsuit is completely remove any and all instances or references of her public statements to make it appear as though any attack against her is slanderous. Please recall the previous removal of factual allegation 34 from the prior version of the lawsuit. Again, 34. Regarding the false accusations listed above, Blair made one public post, attempting to debunk the misinformation. She has not publicly addressed this situation further in an attempt to de-escalate it. Once more, mention of this no longer exists within the lawsuit. The screenshot in question happened November 10th, 2020, nearly 7 months before Felix's employment under Pyramid Entertainment. The NDA should not cover private messages unrelated to Pyramid LLC. It appears to me that Blair covered 7 months. But screenshot in question happened November 10th, 2020, nearly 7 months before Felix's employment under Pyramid Entertainment.
Okay, so if it happened before his employment, like, he should be just, like, it shouldn't be redacted. Why is everything around
okay,
Blair
that's
have to be
how I put in
silenced?
a message, so I am late. What about Blair again?
But thank you for getting us back on topic. Gotcha, Simp. That was very nice of you. I think it's a little ridiculous that the way Blair is trying to position these NDAs and the legal silence that you have surrounding Illuminati encompasses your entire interaction with Illuminati. Because based on what we're seeing here, this is prior to when they were an employee. Ergo, it should not be covered.
The NDA should not cover private messages unrelated to
I want to buy coffee, but I'm scared of Diesel seeing my government name. We've had quite a lot of orders. I wouldn't even notice.
LLC. It appears to me that Blair is attempting to claim that every conversation she has ever had with an employee throughout all of time, even matters unrelated to Pyramid Entertainment, are under NDA. These DMs were in specific relation to a group collaboration channel known as Sad Milk, which included the likes of Damian Lee, Flinders, Hi I'm Wonder, One Topic, The Click, Salty, and myself, and of course Blair. Sad Milk is operated as a different corporate entity with its own distinct EIN, known as Wet Socks LLC.
Making a legal precedent that any and all private conversations outside of work being under NDA sets up horrifying possibility of ways that employers can abuse it. Yeah, like literally, that is the only reason you would do something like that. Is if you either that or you'd have to be like a Fed, like the game would need to be different. Okay, this is not the game for things like that. You can't do that, especially if it's things that happened prior.
Which is a sibling company to Pyramid Entertainment. Both are owned by the same umbrella company that holds my debt. If any argument were to be made about this being work contributed by Felix, the actions taken...
Yeah, Wet Socks LLC. Those names being different is like, it just makes it hard to search these things up. Because I had went looking, and so did Nani, and it was very difficult to find information on it from what I remember. It was a couple months ago, so I might be truncating some of my memory there.
Were not in service to Pyramid Entertainment.
Yeah, Wet Socks. Yeah. So the way is, right? So you have like a LLC name, right? And then you have a doing business as name. So it's like, that's the LLC. That's what's on the business records. But then you do business as Illuminati, as Sad Milk. Generally speaking, though, I'd say if I'm starting a YouTube channel with some homies and we're doing like group content together, I wouldn't be making it an LLC. Not for a long time. I think at 160 subscribers, 160,000 subscribers, you are nowhere near the level where you should be making something an LLC. It would be very, very stupid of you to make an LLC, in my opinion. I think just the legal cost is low, obviously, but still doing that is very strange. Pyramid Entertainment sounds like an MLM trying to hide in plain sight. Are you going to have a G-Subs flavor soon? No, because I'm not famous.
but instead Wet Sox LLC. However, there was no employment contract or NDA.
It's funny how she reported on the shell games MLMs would make and then turns around and uses those same tactics. I know, it's almost like the Illuminati channel was like her trying to smoke screen that she does that exact thing, in my opinion. Sorry, she's very litigious.
Attached to these actions in service to Wet Sox. The files in question are related to old audio recordings of
Let's petition GamerSupps for a diesel flavor. You know why GamerSupps wouldn't? I run a coffee company, guys. Okay, I run a coffee company. They're not gonna do that with me because I don't really inhabit the same space as them, but I could see it being an issue.
Sad Milk videos, not Pyramid. It is also important to point out that these actions in question were not too much.
I ordered a critical one. I want a big titty diesel too. Ha ha. I can. So if you go to our website, right, there's those stands that are done of us, of the Mana Potion guys. I can get Mishi to do a gender bent one of me, or maybe another goblin one of me. A gender bent goblin one of me. Who knows?
My knowledge, normal company practice to specifically target employees who were low on money to dig up dirt on prior collaborators of Blair's. Then, to pay said...
Do you only make regular beans or espresso roast? So they're all single origin. And then we have a decaf now. We will do an espresso roast in the future. We just haven't gotten around to that yet. But our dark roast is pretty dark. Very chocolate forward with its flavors, but USDA organic, and also certified organic, and then fucking fair trade certified. There we go. I forgot my own talking points at my own company.
Employee with a PayPal transaction. To further add, Click was contracted talent for Wet Sox LLC, as Blair herself demonstrated at 11:14 in her own video, where she briefly shows on screen the Sad Milk Entertainment contract, which she refers to as the agreement. I would also like to add that if this was official company business, there should be a documented 1099 form or other specific documentation to show the payments to Felix are properly documented for specifically Pyramid Entertainment. After talking with Felix and being shown his TurboTax filing from 2020, I can confidently state neither this 1099 nor any form of company documentation exists to specify this payment as being directly in service of Pyramid Entertainment. As of this time, we only have a PayPal transfer listed as video review. Mind you, there are no PayPal transfer fees attached to this amount. PayPal takes a fee for business-related transactions. This can range widely. But the common fee for a company transfer is 3.49% with an additional 49 cents per transaction. This means that this transaction is most likely listed internally with PayPal as a friends and family transfer, as before July 28th, 2022, it was possible for a business PayPal account to send money via
now
a friends
deliver
and
to
family
Germany,
transfer.
you sexy boy.
This transfer
Ha ha.
We do deliver to Germany. We do deliver to Germany. Just make sure you fill out your shit correctly, because when I do the customs forms, sometimes those foreign orders come back because you live in like Gorbelstamp village where 2 people live.
was made in November of 2020.
Yeah, Oz showed up with the fucking receipts for this. Holy shit.
Nearly 2 years before this policy change occurred. To me, in my opinion, based on the evidence I have in front of me, this appears to be an under-the-table task assigned to him with no documentation of how that money was categorized, with the payment being labeled within PayPal as friends and family.
Diesel, fess up. Is your coffee company headquartered in Delaware? No, it's not. No, it's not. We pay New York taxes.
Similar to paying your neighbor's kid to mow the lawn. And on top of that, the assignment was specifically in service to Wet Sox, not Pyramid Entertainment LLC, and specifically...
I think it's interesting she's continued to assert that these actions were purely business discussions because she shoots herself in the foot with her sexual relationships with her said employees. Yep.
involved prior contractors, Click, of Wet Sox LLC, not Pyramid Entertainment. In my eyes, I see this as Blair retroactively changing the events of 2020 to fit her narrative within the lawsuit. The simple truth is, this conversation was held November of 2020, and he was hired May of 2021. Blair is trying to claim that these were company communications and has framed it as such to make the lawsuit stick. Factual Claim 64. Regarding these messages, defendant Felix edited selectively picked messages to create the appearance that Blair made statements that she did not. He thereby created a false narrative that was damaging to the plaintiffs. Felix, when the lawsuit was served to him, more on why that's on air quotes later, posted on Twitter informing the public of his circumstance, while also providing the full context of the screenshot in question, which provides no room to argue for cherry picking, as Blair has argued in her suit. Blair does later in this suit confirm the validity of these screenshots by stating she cross-referenced them in her own DMs. But in my opinion, the full context here makes her look worse. These messages were provided to help clear a former collaborator's name of accusations brought against him by Blair.
Yeah, that doesn't help Blair at all. That just confirms the opposition's point. What? Why would Blair? Oh my god. I feel like the courts need to have like a dedicated internet, or the judges need to understand the internet. You know what I mean? Right? Like the fact that this shit can go on so long and not get caught up. They're doctored, just checked. They're actually real. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, it doesn't take a genius to go through Discord messages. Oh my god. Somebody asked a question that I wanted to go back and answer. Have you thought about doing flavored coffee? One of my favorites is pistachio by Wake the Hell Up. You should sample it and make your own version. So here's why we haven't done flavored coffee. Flavored coffee cannot be USDA organic. And right now we are trying to make sure our shit is organic, right? Like we have compostable packaging, compostable labels, all that shit. Because we want to be able to have it just all disappear one day, right? And not leave anything behind. So usually flavored coffees are flavored artificially. I do all the tasting notes for the coffees at the company. So I wanted to make sure each of the light, medium, and dark were all different. You do. Haha. Do.
Here's the full context for those DMs. Blair sending a message at 11.
Hey, are you still short on rent? Rent, no electric, and no electric and phone. Yes, I am negative $2 right now. No idea what I'm doing for lunch tomorrow, but I'm at the fuck it, I'll figure it out phase of my life. I have something for you, but it's a little tedious. I mean, my life is nothing but a tedium, so I can do it. I need you to work with blank to help me find click saying the R slur in Sad Milk's raw audio. I can do that. Let me get a shower and I'll be down. She claims he said it in a Sad Milk video, but I can't remember which one. And she's over her head with shit. I'll pay you $200 to find it. Yeah, just hand me the files and I can get started. $200 will help quite a bit. Blah, blah, blah. There's the file. There's that file and a file in the file. Most will have Discord calls, I think, happened within the first 10 minutes. I'll check the whole recording to be sure. So I'm looking at all 4 folders. Just go into the published file.
10/2020, 8:57 p.m. Hey, are you still short?
Oh my god. Sorry. It's a force of streamer habit to read out the messages. So what I think is crazy here is Felix is like, I'm broke. So Illuminati can exert a lot of pressure, in my opinion, which is what I said earlier, right? We have been looking to do matcha. We are trying to get that to happen right now. So Illuminati can exert a lot of pressure right now for that, right? And just imagine, this is how much screwing over Click is worth to her, right? $200 for that information, right? She is insane enough, in my opinion, to offer up $200 so that way in the future she can fuck over somebody else.
Rent, no electric and phone. Fuck it, I'll figure it out. Yes. I mean, my life is nothing but tedium, so I can draw audio. I can do that. Let me get a shower.
Yeah, this makes her look worse. This makes her look like a crazy person taking advantage of somebody who's broke.
Just send me some coffee, Puerto boy. Haha, JK. I really wanna try mana potion.
Puerto boy. Puerto boy. Go to manapotioncoffee.com and buy my coffee. Okay, if you want a standee, buy all the coffee, and then you can use code Diesel at checkout to get me in the mail, literally. Or if you just buy one coffee, use code D10 at checkout for 10% off your order.
I'll be down. She claims he said it in a Sad Milk video, but I can't remember which one. And she's over her head with shit. I'll pay you $200 to find it.
We almost made a new slur. We're so riled up.
Yep, just hand me the files and I can get started. $200 will help quite a bit. File. Recording to be Dave Felix would receive payment from Blair for, quote, video review, end quote.
That's insane. Like, under the table. Yeah, here's $200 for finding him saying retard. Good work. He moves on with his day.
As a reminder, within Click's video, this was the screenshot originally shown. Now, the next few sections are nearly 50 points down the line.
IMO, Blair would have probably offered more money to Felix if Felix wasn't in a bind. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
And highly segregated as we enter into her claims of relief. The other skip points involve myself as well as Wonder, who was never formally served in this lawsuit. Starting with the 7th claim of relief, defamation per quad, as to defendant Felix. 108. Blair and Pyramid hereby incorporate the previous paragraphs by reference as though each were fully set forth therein. 109. On or about May 2nd, 2023, defendant Felix published a public Twitter X post from one of his Twitter X accounts, @FelixTheKitKat. Now,
they're still calling Twitter in court. I think that's really funny. They don't call it X, they call it Twitter.
I believe this is a clerical error, as Felix did not tweet on any of the days surrounding May 2nd. I believe Blair is referring to this tweet in question, made November 23rd of 2023. 110. This statement implies that Blair committed the tort of abuse of process, alleging A, an ulterior motive for the use of a judicial proceeding to retaliate for defendant Felix's post-employment actions.
I would argue she does have an ulterior motive, but I understand that this is a court document.
B, the willful use of legal proceedings in an improper matter, trying to force a default judgment without properly serving defendant Felix. C, damages, an impending default judgment against defendant Felix. 111. These statements are false, and defendant Felix made the statement with negligent disregard for its falsity. Process server, redacted, signed a declaration that she served defendant Felix on September 26, 2020.
Am I the only one who thinks that naming your company after a pyramid scheme is like naming your cruise ship after the Titanic?
Blair be like you load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, cuss I can't go, owe my soul to the candle store.
Thank you, Cat.
3, at his place of abode, handing the required legal documents to an individual matching defendant Felix's physical description. Felix was never directly handed papers. Instead, the papers were delivered by mail to an address he lives 2 hours away from.
So it wasn't delivered to where he lived? Holy shit.
The claimed time while he was just getting off of work, 2 hours away from the stated address. The papers were never formally handed to Felix. Felix's sister found an envelope in the mail with regular US postage labeled.
Yeah, I can't even blame him for doing it. I'd do it too if I'm hungry. Yeah, I get it. It's such a shame that Blair is who she is.
To Felix on or around October 6th. This directly opposes the processor's claim of directly handing it to Felix. What I find interesting is that this appeared in a mailbox with postage and was within a standard mailing period from September 26th. Yet, there are claims of this being handed directly to Felix. These papers would have been delivered to Felix's stepfather's home within the official legal filing September 27th, 2023 at 6:40 p.m. This address is not his usual place of abode, which is even distinguished, despite the redactions I've made, by not being the address given for Felix in the very lawsuit Blair filed. At the time of delivery, Felix would need to drive nearly 150 miles an hour directly after his shift at work to be at said address in time to receive the
Holy
papers from
shit.
said processor.
Holy shit. That's such a good anecdote about like how fast he would have to drive. That is so good. Holy shit.
While it's not much, Felix has provided me with screenshots of him speaking with his girlfriend about arriving home at 7 p.m. after work. To reiterate, Felix was never formally given papers, despite what the processor claims. Instead, they were mailed to his stepfather, and a proof of service filing was made. The argument of us theorizing that Blair was trying to get a default judgment against Felix comes from the fact that after the service attempt, nearly every day afterwards, Felix would check in with the Colorado courts for an official proof of service to be filed, so he could begin his legal battle. However, proof of service was not filed until after the time required for Felix to respond. When papers are served, a response is due within 21 days, but 35 days for out-of-state parties, within Colorado after service. So this would have been either October 31st or November 1st, depending on if the day of service counts towards the allotted time. Proof of service was not filed with the courts until November 17th, more than 2 weeks after, meaning that Felix would have defaulted. Even my lawyer was caught off guard by these actions. Plaintiff's attorneys filed a proof of service on Felix today. The service was back in September. Not sure why they're just filing the proof today. Felix's answer should have been filed by the end of October based on the service date. Allegation 112. Defendant Felix's statement caused special damages as evident by the fact that plaintiff's revenue from videos dropped by more than 90%.
That's insane. That's an insane. This is an insane allegation, right? Because you can check statistics and analytics on Blair's channel.
5% after defendant's tweet/X was published, from $74,646 in the period of November 23rd, 2022, December 23rd, 2022, to $2,700.
Like, Felix really does not have that kind of power at all. Just by sheer, like, a sheer act of God would have needed to occur for this to be Felix's fault. Okay?
$151.72 during that same period a year later. Blair is listing a drop of revenue from a specific date period and ignoring the fact that her revenue had begun to decline far before then.
I made this graph using data from Social Blade's raw data sets. Holy shit.
Official date.
This is why Microsoft Excel is important, guys. This is why you need to pay attention in high school computer class. Come on.
April 20th, 2023 is when we can see the first damage being done to her subscriber count. This is also the day she levied accusations against Legal Eagle. And then, of course, following her, this is
it's
2023.
April 20th was the last day where she would gain subscribers.
Is when we can see the first damage being done to her subscriber count. This is also the day she levied
like, hello.
accusations against Legal Eagle. And then, of course, following her upload of the Illuminati exposed video, the viewership damage is fairly evident, especially in the following weeks where she saw a rapid decline. I find it to be personally dishonest to claim that Felix's GoFundMe tweet was responsible for the drop in revenue reported, as there had been a long-standing consistent drop of revenue for each month prior. Not to mention, of course, in that date range, this includes the H-Bomber Guy videos, which had a collective 23 million views between the two of them.
If anything, on the basis of this, it almost seems like Blair should be trying to sue someone like H-Bomber Guy, but it doesn't matter anyway, because Blair knows that you can't go after somebody like him.
113. Blair suffered non-economic...
Like, that is so incredibly outrageous and incredulous, and so easy to disprove when looking at the surrounding conversation around Blair.
Damages, as explained in paragraph 112 of the complaint, as a result of defendant Felix's publications in an amount to be proven at trial. I can only assume this is her talking about the general backlash and emotional turmoil this situation has thrown her into. Again, as I'm sure I'll be saying this thousands of times, if you send threats of any kind towards Blair, you're worse than her. Again, the damages Blair is suffering is of her own doing. The only reason any of us are in this position is because of the actions Blair initially took on April 20th, 2023. Eighth claim for relief. Defamation per quad as to defendant Felix. 114. Blair and Pyramid hereby incorporate the previous paragraphs by reference as though they were fully set forth therein. 115. On or about May 2nd, 2023, Mark Deck posted to his public YouTube account,
Hey.
The Click.
Isn't it Drek? That's a clerical error right there. I got a spelling error.
A video titled Illuminati and Sad Milk, which contains screenshots from defendant Oz and Felix, intended for publication by Deck, available at YouTube.
Okay, but when you realize... okay, but the way that this is presented is if Oz and Felix posted these with the intention of ruining Blair, but Blair had pedo jacketed and accused Click of harboring pedophiles. All right, it's not them coming out to try and ruin her via a hate campaign. It's Mark asking, "Hey, can you guys help absolve me? Our former friend has accused me of harboring pedophiles and being a I don't know, an ableist." There we go.
Timestamp. I also just want to add that
Yeah, she's trying to fool the judge in her favor. Yeah, it is like literally the only reason that this is here is because we are assuming that the judge is unaware of how the internet operates or unaware of what's in those videos. It's playing off of ignorance.
Click's name is public. 116. The Illuminati and Sad Milk video displayed a redacted screenshot of a Discord conversation. 117. Upon information and belief, the relevant redacted portions obscured the username Felix the Kit Kat, the username of defendant Felix. 118. Upon information and belief, Click is Mark Drek. It's actually Mark Deck, and he's pretty public with this.
Oh, it was Mark Drek earlier. Okay, so spelling error Andy, bro.
His public music channel after all. 119. Blair asked Felix to find Mark Drek saying the R-slur in Sad Milk's raw audio. 120. Defendant Felix then asserts that Blair, though she publicly disapproves of the R-slur, uses it in private.
Which is true. And she also was anti-SJW and would very much associate with communities like Tonka Saws. Okay, and she was part of Tommy C's crew back in the day. She played a character called Sarah Jessica Warren, which is literally SJW. She played a caricature of an SJW, social justice warrior.
21. This statement carries a defamatory meaning because it implies that Blair
No. The word would be ableist, right? Because she is accusing Click of whatchamacallit. She is accusing Click of making fun of disabled people. Right? There.
is both a hypocrite and a bigot. Her words, not mine. 122. Defendant Felix published this statement with negligent disregard for its truthfulness because he concedes that he has no proof to substantiate his claim. In 2020, Blair had revealed he has no
Defendant published with negligent disregard for his truthfulness because he concedes that he has no proof to substantiate his claim.
proof to substantiate his claim. In 2020, Blair had revealed to me that she had used a service to scrub her Twitter of all and any inappropriate or cancelable language that she may have tweeted. Evidence of this can actually be
Why didn't she just delete all of her tweets? Why did she just delete cancelable tweets? She could have purged the entire thing down to 0 tweets. But like
found by the fact that there's a massive removal of tweets on a single
she removed specific tweets, not all of her history.
day shown by her Social Blade. I had to purchase a Social Blade premium subscription to get this data down to the day as shown. However, as I've come to learn, that service that Blair used to mass delete tweets,
There are like mass delete like your entire Twitter, but she just chose not to. I don't understand. What like a weird stupid thing to do.
doesn't scan media or screenshots. Blair famously went after Click for using the R word 14 years ago. Blair at one point has stated that the word has never been in her vocabulary and that even with 10 years of time, it's inexcusable that he would use this word, despite this being his second language and being the early 2010s, and America's cultural exports use this word frequently. Family Guy, South Park, Black Eyed Peas. Blair can be seen in this tweet using the exact word in question that she condemns and damns others for using.
This is a real tweet, by the way. We have it archived.
Only 3 years prior to her stating that word was never in my vocabulary. According to Blair, even 10 years is inexcusable. Link to the tweet below at the bottom of the description. One of the reasons Blair is suing Felix is for defamation because of a DM.
I love the deadpan Black Eyed Peas. Oh wait, was there an ass in that? Oh, apparently that's Blair's ass. Just to clarify.
stating that word was never in my vocabulary. According to Blair, even 10 years is inexcusable. Link to the tweet below at the bottom of the description. One of the reasons Blair is suing Felix is for defamation because of a DM where he claimed that Blair has used the R word in private. Well, here she is using it in public as an insult. Now, personally, I'd like to keep the R word discourse out of it. The main focus
The R word discourse. I got the pass from Bo Blacks, it's okay. I got the pass from my chat too.
here is the hypocrisy at play because it's plain as day. I actually think that Blair's lawyer put it best. Because implies that Blair is both a hypocrite and a bigot. 123. Defendant
Yeah, well there it is. There's Blair using it. That's it. It's just Jover.
Felix's statements caused special damages, as evident by the fact that plaintiff's revenue from videos dropped by about 50%.
Yeah, but like it can't have been because of Felix, because the amount of like the people who actually would have is not Felix. Like she's targeting Felix. Why? Because he's like doesn't have shitloads of money, because he's not an international lawsuit. Like that's the only reason.
After defendant Felix's defamatory statements were published in the Illuminati and Sadmuk video from $37,981 in the period of May 2nd to June 1st, 2022,
By the way, this is an insane amount of money she's earning.
to
Okay.
$19,274.
That's still an insane amount of money, but now like it's like much less probably, I'm guessing, right?
cents during that same period a year later. 124. Blair suffered non-economic and special damages, as explained in paragraph 123 of the complaint, as a result of defendant Felix's publications in an amount to be proved at trial. The economic damages in question, again, are not solely caused by Felix providing those screenshots. Blair is seemingly electing to avoid mentioning that at this time. There are far more factors at play. Thankfully, the timeline provided earlier
Not only are there more factors, like the implication is that Felix is somehow the linchpin character in this, in Oz, when in reality they just ended up getting the short straw, and ended up being sued. The amount of people that even knew Felix was part of the lawsuit at all is smaller than anyone else's singular tweets. Yeah, the only reason I knew about Felix is because sources had told me about that, right? But Felix being involved in the discussion at all was basically non-existent.
helps cleanly spell this out for any parties watching who are
NDAs cannot instruct you to do any harm or something illegal. Break all NDAs.
unfamiliar. The only way that I can read Blair's current filings, in my view, is that Blair appears to be purposefully misleading the judge to try and paint the situation of her being unjustly attacked for no reason, and excluding any mention that she was in fact the initial aggressor. This brings me to the present where we are now. After Felix submitting a motion to dismiss, which argues that the lawsuit should be essentially tossed, the judge ruled in Blair's favor for the lawsuit to continue. Matt Katster has some great videos diving into this and going over each party's arguments.
I hope she uses the poop story as evidence.
I don't think we have the time to sit down and go through the nearly 20 plus pages of documents arguing case law in relation to this suit just for Felix. I will point out, though, from what I could see, Felix's lawyer took the route of trying to argue the claims itself and the legal standing, as I'm unsure if, at this phase of the suit, if facts can be presented in argumentation of a case's legitimacy.
Your Honor, I picked up the poop with my hands.
As both defendant parties, mine included, have forgone including the nitty-gritty facts of the matter and instead focused on tackling the claims on their merit to stand on their own and utilizing case law on the matter to challenge the arguments at play. However, it seems that Blair was able to eke out a temporary victory with her presentation of the claims. First and foremost, the judge is following procedure as his duties describe according to Colorado law, which outlines that plaintiffs be given, in my opinion for this specific case in question, an unreasonable amount of benefit of the doubt. Even if Blair has a fraction of a percent of a chance for her claims to prevail, the courts
Broken
must
half, Your Honor.
hear them out beyond a motion to dismiss. This is my understanding of the law that the judge has put as his reasoning, which, while frustrating, I understand. This is not the judge blatantly siding with Blair. This is him doing his job.
Yeah.
As quoting, dismissing a complaint only if it appeared beyond a doubt that the plaintiff could prove no set of facts that would entitle him or her to relief, the trial court still accepts all allegations in the complaint as true and views them in the light most favorable to the plaintiff. However, facts pleaded as legal conclusions, i.e. boilerplate or conclusory allegations, such as those that merely repeat the statutory language, are no longer entitled to the presumption that they are true. They must be supported by specific factual allegations sufficient to raise the right to relief above the speculative level. Simply asserting a legal conclusion, bereft of any supporting factual allegations, does not state a plausible claim for relief. Viewing the amended complaint in the light most favorable to the plaintiff, the court accepts that the
Wasn't the poop story allegedly plagiarized by a comedian? Yes. I believe it was plagiarized. I feel like Amy Schumer, but I hope not, because that just feels like a very cyclical system of plagiarizing, but I'm almost certain it was.
portion of the YouTube video referenced in paragraph 63 and 64
Full transcript read slowly by a terribly monotone voiced attorney of that poop video is a must.
of the complaint is the same as the one displayed via screenshots in paragraph 116 to 20, which has the same link. It shows Blair instructing her employee, Felix, to help me find Click, a former employee and now competing YouTuber, saying the
Yeah, he's not a competing YouTuber. They're not even in the same niche. If you go and you check their statistics, you can actually see. I'll do that right now on stream, actually. I'll do it right now. Boom. The Click. So you can tell that they're not competing because they don't operate within the same field, right, at all. And you can do that when you go and you check their backend. So you can't be competing if you're in different categories, right? Click is competing in the entertainment category, of which he is number 1021. And Illuminati operated in the education category, of which she was number 612. They're not in competing categories. They are in different categories of YouTube, and thus do not interfere with each other at all and cannot be competing.
in Sad Milk's raw audio and offering to pay him $200 to find it. Sad Milk is a YouTube channel created and managed by plaintiff Pyramid AMC Para 10. So, as we've discussed in a quick rundown, Felix was not an employee at the time. The work was not done for Pyramid. The income provided was a gift. The work was done for a separate LLC entirely, if she so chooses to argue that line of thought. Click was also never an employee. If he was, why isn't he being sued? I'm going to show an excerpt from the second claim of relief, which mostly pertains to myself, which is why it isn't fully delved into earlier. However, it reads as follows. 73. Upon information and belief, defendant is in breach of these arguments by sharing screenshots of company communications with defendant Oz, intending that he use the screenshots as part of a campaign to damage plaintiff's reputation, as stated above in paragraph 63, Illuminati and Sad Milk at 2413. Defendant Felix has further established his intent to post additional content which will harm plaintiffs in a devastating manner. Blair within this lawsuit is
Discovery and this is going to be good, yeah.
specifically painting these communications as being directly related to company communications, when they were not. I also did not organize a defamation campaign against Blair. She threw the mud first. The judge continues. Again, viewing the amended complaint in the light most favorable.
When we get to her Ask FM and her Tumblr blog, Cocoon Master, everything about Illuminati and Blair's personality just falls right into place.
Favorable to the plaintiff, these allegations arguably state plausible claims for breach of both the NDA and the Felix agreement. They arguably state a plausible claim for breach of the NDA in that they plausibly allege that Felix, without permission, shared with a third party Pyramid information about company operations, as well as information regarding an individual's involvement in Pyramid operations. They likewise arguably
Pyramid is such a bad name for this LLC. It's so telling.
state a plausible claim for breach of the Felix agreement. They allege that Felix, without permission, shared with a third party confidential information for the benefit of...
Okay, Tumblr, she really didn't want anybody to see that. You know what's funny? Is that she still used, like, the Illuminati handle, which is why all this stuff is discoverable and so easy to find. Okay, her, like, it was all out there. Her being a stripper was super public.
third party. The confidential information disclosed is not, as Felix's counsel suggests, that Blair uses the R-slur in private. That would be a private matter rather than the company business. Rather, the potentially actionable conduct by Felix was his disclosure of internal company messages and operations, namely that Blair is instructing her employee to find potentially damaging information about a competing YouTuber. Click. That the information about internal company messages and operations was allegedly disclosed through co-defendant and fellow employee Oz to Click for use against Pyramid and Blair. I would like to reaffirm that Blair did state in points 120 and 121 that she uses it in private is a defamatory claim. It is my assumption that because of how much information is thrown around in the complaints, whether purposely or accidentally, has led to it being harder for all parties to follow her cattywampus timeline of misery. Felix's lawyer with
Cattywampus timeline of misery.
everything else to argue, and from what I could see, did not assert Felix was not involved with Pyramid at this time. This is not a knock against Felix's counsel, only an observation to help explain more factors which would have left the judge to provide his ruling. Also, again, Felix provided evidence to counter a, in my opinion,
Great tactical use of cattywampus. Holy shit.
false narrative Blair was spreading about a prior colleague. Felix reached out to me. Felix was slated for an interview in my original video, and I can only assume Blair pieced this together and would be paranoid about the information he had to tell, leading him to be directly included to the lawsuit as an attempt to muzzle him in what he had to say. This is a personal theory of mine that I've come to due to the facts that are in front of me. If this were false, she could easily prove the public narrative wrong. Instead, she's opted to take the legal route in an attempt to use her finances to crush her opposition. What I also need to stress is that the video which Felix would have been a part of would have fallen into the category of a journalistic piece. No different than what she structures on her channel. I suppose in her eyes it's fine when she puts others under the microscope, but not when others do the same to her.
Yeah. Blair literally built up a reputation of like putting people under the microscope. Like, I don't know what she thought was going to happen. Like, the House of Cards came tumbling down. It was like, you know, it's going to happen. And now she's implementing a lot of the tactics that the people she used to cover would do. And it's quite amazing to see. I mean, there's so much with Blair that really paints a picture of a very devious person, in my opinion. But it's just incredible how poetic it almost all is.
Even for her actions outside of Pyramid, which wouldn't be covered under NDA. Blair instructing her employee to find potentially damaging information about a competing YouTuber, Click. That information about internal company messages and operations was allegedly disclosed through co-defendant and fellow employee Oz to Click.
And like, even like, again, he's not a competing YouTuber, but imagine that was, now again, like Oz has stated, it's not company related, but just imagine sitting in like a boardroom of your business, right? Let's say you work at like Verizon and you go in and the CEO sits you down and he says, listen, I need you to go to our friends at AT&T and find something that can ruin them. Like, that's what it sounds like. Like,
against Pyramid and Blair. While disclosing such tardy information to a competitor may not be a violation of the Uniform Trade Secrets Act, it could plausibly be a violation of the agreements that Felix signed as it disclosed to a competitor the internal operations of a company whose business arguably involved trolling for clicks and bringing down its competitors. As the complaint alleges, large amounts of money were at stake. This shows that the judge is under the impression, due to the information that Blair provided, Felix was an employee at this time despite the evidence we discussed prior. The judge is under the impression that Click was a competing YouTuber. This is why I stressed his content type being comedy and memes, as well as him being a prior colleague of Blair's. Click is not a direct competitor and does not occupy the same space or venue of YouTube that Blair does.
oh, Oz, you're so good at this. Oh, you bring a smile to my face.
In fact, Blair has done such a tremendous job at muddying the timeline and obfuscating her actions, it seems the judge is entirely unaware that Click's video was in self-defense against her accusations, and Felix was providing Click with documentation to defend his image from the heinous pedojacketing attempt that Blair had committed. Blair has successfully been able to rewrite history in the initial phases of this lawsuit to fit her narrative, and present herself as a YouTuber who is unjustly attacked out of nowhere by vindictive employees, when the reality is that Blair went on the attack with accusations so profoundly, in my opinion, fucking stupid, where, and I'm repetitive on this notion, not for the audience but for the legal reasons, she accused a lawyer of plagiarism. Bomber Guy countered with her examples of plagiarism. While I cannot speak on the intentions of others, as I have stated, I spoke out to defend my prior colleagues as well as distance myself from Blair because I was receiving Discord messages and stream chats frantically asking, or in some cases demanding, that I make a statement on Illuminati, and if I supported her attacks on Legal Eagle because of my prior association with her. When people distanced themselves from Blair and spoke on their own personal experiences, she retorted with a 40-minute long video full of accusations and ammunition that she had been holding on to for nearly 3 years. As stated in the intro, the new
For 3. What is it with like the YouTubers holding personal drama about the people in their lives until they can like nuclear bomb them or try and like ruin them?
GoFundMe being launched will be utilized to not only come to my legal aid, but all other parties in opposition to Blair. This of course includes Felix. His legal invoices will also be posted alongside mine as this case progresses. If Blair declines my offer in the outro,
My
there will
shorts
be
are
more updates.
my massive man thighs are quite tight on my little gamer shorts right now.
Pertaining to
I need to put on my boxers. I'm like I want to stream without pants, chat, but I can't because I live in a society that requires me to wear pants. It was leg day.
Here we
Diesel. Today was actually not leg day. I had leg day yesterday.
The outro per se. As I mentioned earlier, I'm making Blair an offer.
You can stream without pants in a maid outfit. No.
Publicly to put an end to this. To any questions beforehand regarding the new GoFundMe, if Blair does accept this offer, I will be refunding it in full, as I only plan to utilize that funding if she decides the lawsuit will be moving forward. Because of this, however, this does mean that for the next month, I'm on the hook for my own legal bills, and as of today, this is going to be a rough month, as this one's out of pocket, so it looks like it's the mini-wheats diet for me. If this lawsuit continues, I know that on my end, I could be looking at anywhere from $4,000 to possibly $10,000 monthly, as seen by this invoice for the last 2 weeks.
Practically an $8,000 invoice. That's a fucking expensive one. That's expensive as hell.
The reason for this potential settlement offer is that I'm not thrilled at the idea of spending a majority of my 20s, possibly the next 2 years, stuck in legal litigation in opposition to Blair. I just want to be able to live my life. The stress from the lawsuit, the foreclosure, it feels nearly never ending, and I'm tired of waking up in the middle of the night, stressed with chest pain and dread. I'm tired of dreading every email notification. The legal system is exhausting. But while the legal and foreclosure stress have been very present and constant in my life, even with the foreclosure ending in December, it's not the only reason I'm considering this potential settlement agreement. In my personal life, there is an ongoing source of both grief and stress and factors that I'm still trying to process and have been unable to process because of everything going on around me. With keeping details sparse out of respect for my partner and with their approval, we've had to deal with the heartbreak of a miscarriage throughout all of this. Its occurrence was unexpected, and because of the day-to-day stress of the lawsuit, we've been unable to process, heal, and move forward from this loss. We've had to shelve these emotions and push forward, and it's been hard on both of us, and I just want the opportunity to heal with my partner in peace. And which is why I'm even considering giving Blair this settlement. I ask that you respect my privacy of myself and my partner until such a time that we are comfortable making details known. I'm not doing this for Blair. I'm doing this for my partner and I's future. If Blair doesn't accept the following offer, let alone negotiate, so be it. I have no problem with continuing forward. I have no problem with continuing to pursue this until the end, as I do not fear the outcome of the case, especially after the judge's recent orders. More on that if/when part 2 is released. My settlement to you, Blair, would allow you to follow the morals that your channel has advocated.
I have things I want to say, but I'm gonna wait and let him lay out what his settlement offer is to Blair.
Dedicated for. Or, in your words, be dedicated to upholding your channel's
Oz is a very good person, though. Over the course of the story, I've gotten to know Oz a little bit. You know, of course, obviously, we have talked about Diesel. Would you settle? That's hard. That's hard. What do you think? If I wasn't financially secure enough to listen, if I wasn't financially secure enough to know that I could burn that money, I'd probably settle. Unless I had money I could throw away. In this case, I'd probably settle, given the circumstance. I can't imagine what that feeling is like. You know, of a miscarriage. You know? Because that's rough. I don't know what to say. You know, I've talked about it with Oz. I wish there was more I could do. You know, when I spoke with Oz about it, you know, I was like, you need to do what you need to do for yourself and your partner and put yourselves first, right? I understand everybody wants you to put the screws to Blair, you know, to give her comeuppance. But, you know, at the end of the day, this is internet shit. And you got to take care of the people that you love in your life, to be there for them. And stuff like that is rough because the circumstances are so awful. And I know nobody wants to see Illuminati walk away with anything. They want her to see her. I mean, quite personally, a lot of people want to see her buried in the ground. And it's such a shame that such a, in my opinion, bad person gets away with so much. But, you know, what else are you going to do? And I know that even though Illuminati is done, that this channel is done, I could see Blair trying to come back with a new channel somewhere else, somewhere in the depths of the internet. And I don't want to gatekeep this place, gatekeep being a YouTuber, but I feel like she's exhausted that goodwill. You know, I think we're past that point. Yeah. Blair's vindictive enough that she'll keep trucking. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. Then is she already making a new channel? I mean, we're looking. She couldn't come back voicing. Everybody would know it's her. You know. Oz is young, too, by the way, guys. He's not... Prism of the Past is not it. Yeah, I've checked. It was an old project she had. Most of her old projects are up in smoke anyway. You know, Oz is decently young. He's talented. For his age, he's very successful. You know, he deserves to have that opportunity to deal with that grief and move on with himself and his partner as well. You know, I have a lot of Oz has a good head on his shoulders. Oz has a very good head on his shoulders. You know, so I'd want the best for him. I actually quite like him a lot. So it sucks to hear that. And it makes me sad for him, you know? So yeah. Damn, I'm getting upset. I really do. I really do. Oz is somebody that I'm like, oh, you seem like a cool person. I understand that there's like a source journalist kind of relationship right now, but I'd like it to be like a friend, you know? So it just sucks. There are some people that I don't like that become sources that I'm just like, whatever. But then there are others that I'm like, oh, you're like such a good person.
values and delivering on your commitments. Or, as this handy video you uploaded a week before you sent out cease and desist states.
When something as horrible as this happens, people always come out and admit fault and tell the horrifying truth of their continued negligence and malpractice, right? Yeah, you're right, that never happens. What am I thinking? Instead, they usually do their best to hide everything and blame anyone but themselves, and wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what happened here too.
My settlement offer is for you to drop the lawsuit, for all parties involved. Even Wonder, with prejudice. I won't file counterclaims and would no longer be required to upload the second part to this video. And what do you get? A chance to prove your side of the story, or even take accountability for your actions. If you proceed with this lawsuit, by the time that it's done, especially with what's left of the judge's order, there would be no platform for you to return to, as you still need to answer for not just me, but for everyone else you've harmed on this platform. It would be difficult to return to a platform with a label that you hypocritically participated in the very business tactics that you've reported to be in opposition of for the past 4 years. I'm offering you a chance to clear your name on a third-party neutral platform. Think of it as a conversation, rather than use the corporate tactic of bullying those who...
So imagine, I just want you to picture this, chat, right? They agree to drop the lawsuit. Oz, Blair, and then, and let's just say for comedy's sake, me. I know it won't be me. I know it won't be me. Don't get me wrong though. In conversations with Oz, I have grilled him to make sure that he is dotting his I's and shit. Keemstar. Oh, she's suing you too. No. I'm saying I'm the third party. I'm the third party. Right? It's like a stream debate. Oz on one side, Blair on the other. FPS Diesel moderating. The Ralpha mail. Ethan Ralph as the moderator is the funniest shit ever, actually. Imagine him reading out the live stream chat in court. Thanks, Cat was taken for the 5. Moderator Diesel of this debate. Where is the video? I don't know what reference this has to do with the current debate at hand. And are you gooning? Are you gooning? The $5 super chat also says you're gooning. This isn't about me. This is about them. Yeah, she won't. I don't think she'll drop the lawsuit at all. Even if there was a real third party, of which honestly, unironically, actually no, Keemstar would be incapable of being a silent third party. Maybe it'll be Tipster, guys. Maybe it'll be Tipster. Unironically, probably Nicholas Diorio or Turkey Tom or probably one of the other big drama guys would be good. But you know, I don't think Blair cares about her image anymore either. I think she's ready to burn it all to the ground. But for Oz's sake, on one hand, I do hope that a settlement can be reached. But I think she would gladly truck along and, again, self-immolate rather than reach a settlement.
Speak out against you, why not prove you're different from them? You've previously stated that you feel as though you dumb down your language too much and you allow people to fill in the gaps that don't actually exist. So here's your chance. Prove everyone wrong. If you're interested in going the route of proving publicly why you're in the
She should get a job at Boeing.
right to argue for your platform's right to existence, a discussion where all topics would of course need to be known by both parties beforehand. A lawsuit that'll drag on for the next few years will not clear your
Maybe Swoop wouldn't be bad. Swoop would be a good one. I can make that happen.
name like you hope. If anything, it has only further damaged your reputation, Blair, especially because you're suing the two parties who have publicly said the least. And
Xylee
I
would
know
be
you
so good. Xylee would be good. Holy shit.
this. No PR firm in the world could save you if you continue this lawsuit. Even if you did win, from what I've seen,
Xylee would commit homicide. That's why we love Xylee, guys. Come on.
you would just be seen as a bully who abused the legal system. You could also use this opportunity that I would be giving you to take accountability. The rough outline that I'm proposing, and I am open to negotiations on these terms within reason. Plaintiff must dismiss all claims against
Within reason. I wonder what even would be negotiable. Not to have a private discussion about what would be negotiable or what you're willing to give up, Oz. You know. But I don't. Either way, I think she's ready to burn down everything. I don't think she'll settle. It's such a shame. But yeah. We need Too Mad to come back via Ouija board to moderate. Moderator Too Mad, what do you think about Blair's statement? Then the Ouija board starts moving. And it just says, literally driving? Oh, too Mad, where are you driving? Guys, Too Mad has spoken. Blair, you need to be quiet. He said, literally driving an organ. He said, Baba Booey.
all parties with prejudice once amicable terms are set forth. Plaintiff and myself will agree on a third party who we both independently trust to host a fair conversation.
I actually don't know who Blair would get to host. Right? I really don't know. Like, actually, like, putting all the jokes aside. Damn, 10 Too Mad catching strays.
Their responsibility will be to ensure that each person is not spoken over and is given a chance to clear their mind. Plaintiffs may also take this time to take accountability for their actions instead.
Unironically, Tipster makes sense for her. No, Tipster does not make sense. Nope, Tipster does not make sense. I'd love to tell you why Tipster doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with the current drama that Tipster exists in right now. It has nothing to do with that. Okay, but Tipster, no, it couldn't be him. Maybe Ethan Klein, actually. That's another good one. I think Ethan Klein can handle it.
If they wish. Legal.
But I want it to be at a live venue. Okay, now I'm demanding stuff for the settlement. I'd hate to do this. This is so rude. After I said all those wonderful, heartfelt things about Oz, I'm taking the piss. I swear. But I want it to be in like a public room, right? Where people, where there can be like a gallery of people to watch. This is horrible. I'm so sorry. Right? But I like, you gotta let me have a front row seat, please. I want to be there.
Fees of either party will not be sought out, and this will be taken for
The
the
Gladiator Stadium. No, I'm just like, so you guys remember when I went to Baltimore VidCon and it was like a picture of Destiny on his Nintendo Switch? I want that. I want that again.
loss that it is. I can provide no personal guarantee in either circumstance that you, Blair, would be able to repair your public image or reputation. That is up to you. However, I am giving you the opportunity that your lawsuit will most certainly not. I would be open to additional terms.
Perfect. Destiny can do it. Could you imagine Destiny moderating it? He pulls up Wikipedia in the middle of it. He's playing Factorio while they're arguing. Alternatively, Hassan. Hassan, during the debate, gets up from the chair and just lets them both yell at each other. And he's gone for like 40 minutes.
being presented within reason. This settlement offer must be accepted, if at all,
Excuse me. Diorio would play Fortnite. Like, bro, this is fucking ridiculous. Why'd you even start a company like that when you're the pyramid company? What kind of company?
a communication in writing delivered to my lawyer not later than the end of office hours June 7th, or it will be withdrawn without further notice. If my lawyer does not receive a response by the end of office hours on June 7th...
Smaggle. Well, Blair, why are you literally retarded? Are you fucking kidding me? Blair, I saw you talk about taking the poop out of the toilet. Why'd you do that? It was fucking stupid.
I will assume that you've declined this offer, and I will proceed as planned with legal proceedings.
That's unironically, that is what Smaggle sounds like. I am not mocking him. He's aware of that.
We are open to negotiations within reason. I am only giving...
Wait, wasn't Tonka mentioned earlier in this vid? Have him do it. Is he even around? Fuck it. Let's just have him go on Kino Casino. That'll go great.
Blair this settlement offer because of the events which have occurred in my private life.
Guys, let's get Nick Rakita to moderate this while he's getting head under the table while doing heroin and coke. In my opinion, funny in Minecraft.
If she declines, so be it.
Oopaville would actually be an unironic good choice, but I want the funny choices.
I have no qualms with proceeding with part 2.
Have Doug Walker. Just Doug Walker. Doug Walker moderate. All right. Oz, you cooked. You really cooked. You really did. You did an amazing job with that. Papa Gut. Absolutely not, guys. Absolutely not Papa Gut. I must veto that. Porn. Linkara. Linkara should moderate. DSP. DSP is my... Fuck is one of my favorite words. She's so white girl pilled, dude. Great things about Aquarius. What is the funniest post here that I can crack the most wise about? This is her talking about measuring a guy's cock one time. All right. There's no porn here. But here's how you know. So this web archive, right? Close that. This web archive says Cleo, which is one of her many handles, by the way. Illuminati. Right? So this was her account. Oh, holy shit. I can actually show that. Was this Cleo or... So was this Blair or somebody else? Guys, I had sex yesterday and my vagina still hurts. And even drunkenness. What the fuck? I have a midget vagina. 8 fucking inches. Makes me bleed like a virgin. All fucking over again. No, I don't even know. Can you hear me, chat? Maybe I am being DDoS. Diesel Pookie, just restart stream. I have no idea why this is happening. All right, all right. Fuck. Oh my god. All right, chat. Can we hear me?